Good morning. It is 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. You may run into some dense fog on the way to work this morning. Stefano DiPietro is telling us visibility is down to a quarter mile in some spots, so careful out there this morning. We have breaking news to start the day. A parking garage erupting in flames overnight in downtown Nashville. This is at 6th and Commerce Street. It's the garage that's attached to the Renaissance Hotel. Channel 4's Alexandria Adams.
Hotel guests telling us they could see and smell that smoke inside of the hallways of their hotel rooms. And you can hear explosions actually coming from the parking garage.
Yeah, the hotel guests there have been evacuated while the firefighters continue working that scene. Now, there may have been a ceiling collapse from the 5th to the 4th floor of that parking garage. We're going to keep you updated as we learn more this morning. Metro Police releasing the body cam footage of yesterday's deadly officer-involved shooting. Now, the officer in this case responded to a call about a man walking down the street at Hermitage Avenue with a gun in his hand when he warns another man who's approaching him to turn around.
Stop! Go back! Go!
And the officer then continues to warn the man with the gun to drop it. That man with the gun then turns and charges at the officer.
Drop the gun! Come on! .580. Shots fired.
Yeah, the man at the hospital, he died at the hospital. The officer is okay, though, shaken up. No word on the suspect's identity so far. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Major indexes mostly flat to start off the trading week on Wall Street as trade talks between the U.S. and China start in London. Investors hoping for a deal between the world's two largest economies to lower retaliatory tariffs, which are now on pause. The Dow down 1 point at closing. The S&P rose 6 points, and the Nasdaq ended the day 61 points ahead. Warner Brothers Discovery announced plans to split into two independent companies by next year. A streaming and studios company will include Warner Brothers Television and Motion Pictures, HBO, HBO Max, and their film and television libraries. A networks company will include CNN, TNT Sports, Discovery, their European channels, and digital products like Bleacher Report. Amazon says it will spend $20 billion on two data complexes in Pennsylvania. Those data centers are designed to meet expected demand for artificial intelligent products. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
The Dow futures right now are down 35 points. We've got NASDAQ futures gaining 7, though. S&P futures, they're up 2 points. That's the latest news. We'll get you traffic and weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. And we're not talking about any big delays this morning so far, except that you've got a lot of problems with dense fog. About a quarter of a mile visibility in some spots this morning, according to Stefano, so be careful out there. Also, the fire at that parking garage is right downtown. It's at 6th and Commerce Streets. There is still a lot of equipment around on that road this morning along both sides of that road. So you're going to find delays downtown as well. You may need some extra time getting in this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 89.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Hope you're doing well for a Tuesday, June 10th of 2025. So, Joan, this big parking garage fire, I don't know why I'm so intrigued by this.
Yeah, this is pretty incredible.
But overnight, 6th and Commerce, big old garage fire. And do they know how many cars were on fire, or how these fires or this fire started?
No, none of that, except that they know that the fifth floor collapsed in part onto the fourth floor. On the fourth floor, there were a lot of city-owned vehicles. So those vehicles have been destroyed. Now, are others destroyed? I don't know that. Have there been any injuries? Haven't heard that either. So we're, I'm still digging in, trying to find the most I can from, all the different sources of information that we have around Nashville.
That's a big fire. When you have the fifth floor, collapse down onto the fourth floor.
Yeah.
I mean, that is insane.
Sure is.
So they had to, I guess, I don't know what hotel there is at 6th and Commerce, but
it's Renaissance Hotel.
Is that the Renaissance?
Yeah.
Boy, can you imagine the people that spent all that money on the Renaissance and now they're...
Yeah, they're here in town for like some kind of a conference or something. So there's a lot of people sort of just walking around the streets in the middle of the night.
Are they still? Is it out now?
It has been brought under control.
Okay.
But there was a lot of smoke that ended up in the hotel, so they needed to clear that too.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how much damage there may be in the hotel? Just
it's crazy.
Smoke can really ruin things.
Okay, so do you have a theory as to what may have happened? I'm thinking it's got to be some sort of because cars don't just explode.
Correct.
Right? So something happened.
So here's the thing. It could either be somebody set a car on fire, right? I mean, that can happen. Or and somebody even sent this on the super text line, which was my very first thought. These electric cars sometimes have problems.
Oh, yeah.
Are there charging stations on that floor? Who knows? So, yeah, I think that there's a lot that needs to be looked into here.
Okay. Well, keep us updated, Joan.
Yeah, we will.
And also, I was just watching that video of that guy charging the police officer with the gun. Have you seen the video, the actual video?
I watched the whole thing.
So my thought on that is that, and there's big news out of Los Angeles we are going to get to, but I just saw the video. It seems like the dude was completely out of his mind.
He was out of it, yeah.
Or it was suicide by cop.
Yes.
And I don't know which one.
If you haven't watched the video, you might think suicide by cop, and it still may be.
Yeah.
But this gentleman, he's not a young man.
Yeah.
He looked disheveled. There's something going on.
And he's just walking down the street with a gun.
With a gun in his hand, yeah.
And then he turns and he faces the officer and he starts running right at him. So, yeah, I mean, clearly the dude was out of his mind.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
The officer, I don't know if you'd heard when I did the 5 o'clock news, I was able to take a portion of the officer. There was another guy that was walking toward the man with the gun. And the officer tells the guy, turn around, get out of here, leave.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my goodness.
All right. Well, a busy morning in the newsroom. Thank you, Joan.
Yeah, it's been busy.
Okay. This is the headline, Los Angeles. I love this headline. This is from the Daily Mail because everybody wants to know what's going on in L.A. and did they have riots over the overnight? Well, they did. The headline is Battlefront LA, but LA fights back with immigration protesters zip-tied and loaded onto buses en masse as the Marines head in. So Trump sends in like 700 Marines. He had also doubled the number of National Guard. So, I mean, at last check with my counting, Trump had 4,000 National Guard and 700 Marines. So that's the numbers that I have. Now, maybe those numbers are different. Maybe you've got different numbers, whatever. But clearly they made a difference. And this is what Donald Trump has learned over experience. Because remember what happened way back during the Summer of Love, right? When we had cities all across America literally destroyed. No more p-footing around for Donald Trump. He sent in the Marines, 700 of them. Los Angeles appeared to wrestle back control of the city last night with hordes of protesters detained and forced into police buses as hundreds of Marines and thousands more National Guard reinforcements were due to touch down. I mean, I love the thought of all of these malcontents, all of these, in my opinion, terrorists. I love the thought of them being zip-tied and thrown into buses. And then let's see how many of them. I want to know this. Here's what I want to know, and I know that you people have the same thought. So who do they work for? Who is payrolling or funding all of this? And are they legal or are they illegal? I've got a piece of audio for you. I've got so much audio on this. But I want to play. Follow me on Twitter, @DanMandisShow. Couple of things. And you may be asking, why is Dan so excited that these people are getting pepper sprayed? Why are you so excited that these people are getting, zip-tied and thrown into, police vehicles and so forth? You know what? Because I've spent the last 4 days watching. I used to live in Los Angeles. Now, just so you know, none of this I'm from Los Angeles, as some of you people won't ever let me forget. And so I'm watching as my hometown continues to burn. And so I'm watching the bad behavior of these people as they continue to attack law enforcement. I've got a couple of sound bites to really personify and talk about what is going on. This sound bite where you've got a couple of people making threats against law enforcement.
We're gonna dox you! We're gonna dox you!
So dude's, again, in his keffiyeh and his mask, and he's yelling at the officers, "We're going to dox you," which, of course, as you know, I mean, that is what the Democrats want. Isn't that not what the Democrats want? Hakeem Jeffries. I don't need to play you the audio once again of a very robotic-sounding Hakeem Jeffries who has been saying that the identity of these officers needs to be known and basically threatening to dox ICE officials, even though we know, and ICE law enforcement, even though we know that attacks on ICE officers is at an all-time high. So we have that. We also have this audio as well. I worked really hard on this piece of audio. Joan, for one, I think this is about a 15-second piece of audio. Mm-hmm. I think I worked about 5 to 7 minutes on this one piece of audio because, well, I think the bleeps will speak for themselves. This is a guy named Nick Shirley, and he is one of these influencers, whatever. But he's right there on the scene in Los Angeles. Just all Nick is doing is interviewing people, and he comes across the wrong guy.
This is our f***ing land, you Get the out of here, dude!
Dude, I have every right to be here.
I don't give a f*** not today. I'm the f***ing police. I'm telling you not to be here, motherfucker.
Well, I want to be here.
Well, I'm telling you not to be here.
Get out of my way.
Now that was like, isn't that nice?
Hey, it's his street, not anybody else's.
Yeah, this is his land, and he's the police.
Yeah.
So I've got more to say specifically about the comment where this is our land, because this has been a mentality in California and specifically in Southern California. And I know this because I used to live there, and I know people with this kind of mentality. And I'm going to explain that coming up next. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Well, you have a lot of fire officials set up around the area of 6th and Commerce Street this morning. That's that garage fire downtown at the Renaissance Hotel. Careful in that area. Also, if you're traveling in the area of Manchester, you've got things being set up for Bonnaroo, which begins, tomorrow. No, it begins on Thursday. Bonnaroo begins on Thursday. But they're already setting up barricades, so careful in that area this morning. And a dense fog advisory through 8 o'clock this morning. Visibility can be a quarter of a mile in some spots, according to Stefano. So watch it as you're heading into work this morning. Maybe give yourself a few extra minutes. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, about the fog, a couple of things right now. Is it still, it's still kind of sort of dark outside. If you've been out driving around, the moon this morning was amazing. I don't know if it's like a full moon or what they call the moon that was last night.
Yeah.
But holy mackerel. It was like full and it was orange and it was gorgeous.
So Dan texts me and says, wow, this moon this morning. And I'm like, who can see the moon through all the fog? Like, I didn't even think about it.
I'm a fog whisperer, Joan.
I see.
That's my superpower.
Yes.
I can see right through fog.
Way to go, Dan.
I did actually hit some fog, some very dense fog on my way in. But I was able to see the moon, and it was gorgeous. If it's still up, then, take a look if you can do so safely. All right, now, real quick, this audio again from this protester.
This is our f***ing land, you Get the out of here, dude.
Dude, I have every right to be here.
I don't give a f*** not today. I'm the f***ing police. I'm telling you not to be here, motherfucker.
Well, I want to be here.
Well, I'm telling you not to be here.
Get out of my way.
Towards the cop.
So this guy ends up following this Nick Shirley throughout the, I don't know how long the whole thing went on. I didn't have time to watch the entire video. But the guy just, for all this time, just followed Nick Shirley as he is trying to conduct interviews. And he said, among other things, and with all the curse, I mean, it was like nothing but curse words. That's all I had time to pull and bleep out. But, one of the things that he called him a Republican piece of crap, all of the things. But one of the things that this protester said was, this is our land. So there's a whole sort of group of people, contingent of people in Los Angeles, and frankly across the country, certainly though in the South and on the West Coast, who feel like California and Texas and other states were actually stolen from Mexico, and they want it back. If not literally, then culturally. That's why there's so many people out there with Mexican flags. And that's why they want as much illegal immigration as possible, because from a cultural standpoint, as a people, they feel that Mexico was actually stolen from them, from Mexico. And so they feel like this land now, California, Texas, and so forth, was stolen from Mexico. And so from a cultural standpoint, they basically want to overwhelm these states with their own heritage and their own flags, which is why you see the burning of the American flags and all these people with Mexican flags. And this is something that has been going on for decades, where I used to live in Southern California in Los Angeles. You also heard him say, we're the police. Well, they have zero respect for or fear of law enforcement. You know who else was out there, by the way? I don't know if you remember Rebecca Pringle, but Rebecca Pringle, she is that lunatic. She is a teachers union president, the National Education Association. And by the way, all of this is on my X feed. You can follow me at Dan Mandis Show. And so this is Rebecca Pringle. Again, she is a teachers union president, obviously quite the leftist.
We the people! We the people! We the people!
Yes!
All of us have that right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of justice!
She's kind of crazy. And we've played her audio before because she has this tendency to do this. You know what I'm talking about? And so she's very easy to make fun of. So some of these audio bites that I'm playing, one, they look just quite frankly crazy, or they are, in my opinion, rather quite frankly, evil and demonic. So there's a lot going on from the Daily Signal, because that Rebecca Pringle, she is a union head. There are groups out there that are funding and organizing all of this from the Daily Signal. 3 major organizations have come under increased scrutiny as these riots have been going on out of control in Southern California. The Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights, Los Angeles chapter. The Party for Socialism and Liberation is another one. And the Service Employees International Union is yet a third. So these 3 groups are now being accused by some of funding and organizing. Now, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, the Los Angeles chapter, do you know how much money they've received from Joe Biden's federal government through grants? $34 million in 2023 alone under Joe Biden. So here we are yet again in a situation where we have you and I, we, the American people, and what's happening is we are funding both sides of this thing, right? We are helping to fund the bricks that magically appear. We're helping to fund all of the organization that is taking place, because these organizations that get federal grants from Democrats, they're using that money to fund these riots. And then we also pay for the Marines to come in and try to shut this thing down, also the National Guard and all the resources that are utilized in trying to stave off these riots. So yet again, our taxpayer dollars is being utilized for, in my opinion, evil. And so we'll continue to talk about this and so much more. It does sound like, though, and Joan, I don't know if you're seeing the same thing, but I've seen a couple of stories now where it does say that they are starting now to arrest a lot of these people. Of course, we all know that they'll probably not be brought up on any charges.
Right.
That's what I was going to say, Joan.
It's always a visual. That's it.
Yep.
Hauling
It's
them
always
off,
a visual.
and it's just a visual.
Well, and here's the deal. If they do get charged, then there is no doubt high-powered lawyers that will make sure that either, number one, they get off scot-free, or number two, they will utilize their charges and perhaps even being found guilty as a badge of honor. Because when you go out there and you are assaulting or spitting on police officers, do you really care that you're going to be charged with something? No. Because, again, for people on the left, that is a badge of honor. 5:23 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan has the news at 5:30. Joan.
Yeah, the latest on that downtown Nashville fire that has traffic snarled and hotel guests walking around outside this morning. Also, a country singer involved in a deadly crash in Nashville. Those stories and more at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTM.
528, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. By the way, we will also be talking about Congressman Mark Green and his sudden retirement yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, this all came down. So there's just so much to talk about today. Riley, hold on one sec. I want to make sure I get this story right, because I thought it was interesting where you got Riley Gaines. She is going after Simone Biles. You know, that this whole Twitter thing that has been going on between Riley and Simone Biles. Really interesting update to that story. I actually didn't cover it yesterday because we had so much other stuff going on. But Riley Gaines is now speaking out regarding the Twitter spat, the feud between she and Simone Biles. Now, if you don't know what that is, basically Simone Biles, the gymnastics star, said something really, really nasty on X about Riley Gaines. And Riley was just doing what she does, which is standing up for women's sports. So I've got an update to that story as well. The very busy morning on Nashville's Morning News. Oh, by the way, the Democrats now, they're out there trying to say that they're going to start moderating their positions on things like men in women's sports and other things as well. And I've got some comments on that. Again, very busy morning. It is 5:30 on WTN.
Good morning. It is 5:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Got to watch it this morning. We have a dense fog advisory until 8 o'clock this morning, and the visibility is down to a quarter of a mile in some spots, all through Middle Tennessee, the entire region. Careful as you're traveling this morning. And we have breaking news to start the day. Fire crews are on the scene of a fire at the parking garage that's attached to the Renaissance Hotel. This is at 6th and Commerce Streets. And guests at that hotel have been evacuated. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac is on the scene.
That the flames started on the 3rd floor of the garage and then spread all the way up to the 6th floor. Multiple cars were destroyed. The rent between the 5th and the 4th floor collapsed.
Yeah, she's also telling us that many of the vehicles that were destroyed were city-owned vehicles. The fire has been brought under control, but now comes the work of investigating the cause of the fire and finding out if the parking structure is stable. We're learning more about a deadly pedestrian crash in Germantown on Sunday. A woman walking her dog in the crosswalk on 3rd Avenue near Van Buren Street, Dorothy Dobbins, she was killed. Well, now we're told that country singer Connor Smith was behind the wheel of the car and that he has not been charged. Channel 4 spoke to neighbors near that intersection.
Did that come as a surprise to you?
No, I was mad. It's just sad all the way around, and it could have been avoidable.
Yeah, she also said that the crosswalk signage in that area is inadequate and partially blocked by trees. We've also learned that Tennessee 7th District Congressman and House Homeland Security Committee Chair Mark Green has announced his official retirement. Congressman Green says that he has an offer in the private sector that he cannot pass up. Congressman Green said that he'll leave office after the House votes on the reconciliation bill, and there will be a special election to replace him. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, you've got that structure fire, the garage fire that is downtown Nashville this morning. It's at 6th and Commerce Streets, but we're watching the scene, and it appears that the fire department has set up all around that perimeter. So you've also got fire officials on 7th Avenue. It's a mess this morning, and it's a place that you may want to avoid. And you've also got fog this morning traveling in, especially on the major highways all through Middle Tennessee, down to about a quarter of a mile, maybe a half mile visibility in some spots. So careful as you're driving this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537. Hello. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here, along with Joan Jones. By the way, we seem, Joan, for the second day in a row.
Yes.
That we have a really good Daily Dan poll.
Oh. Mm-hmm. 2 whole days in a row. 2
days in a row.
Whew.
So, listen, you can watch us anywhere. You can watch the radio show on YouTube and X, 997WTN.com. And you can also listen on all the various apps. And so find all the links at 997WTN.com. But if you watch on YouTube, like and subscribe. For political reasons, our Daily Dan poll is, for political reasons, do you want Democrats to continue supporting illegal immigrants? 49% of the folks said yes, and 50% said no. So I think it's a good right down the middle kind of a thing. I do find it interesting, though, that 50% of the people that took the poll said no, they don't want Democrats to continue supporting illegal aliens. Well, here's the thing. I mean, and polling, there's just now some polling out that shows that the American people overwhelmingly support what Donald Trump is doing. So I'm a little surprised by that, but whatever. It's early. So go take the Daily Dan poll if you would. We would really appreciate it. Also, I was talking about Nick Shirley. I've been well danned by one of the super texters. And you know what? I actually, did you see it, Pamela? Pamela, oh my goodness gracious.
Did you just call me Pamela?
I sure did.
Could be worse, but still, you called me Pamela.
I did. What is wrong with me today?
Well,
that's another knock, Dan.
That is another knock. And I'm not sure, whatever, moving right along. So, Nick Shirley, don't call me Shirley, but one of the folks on the super text line well danned me and said that Nick Shirley, because I called him an influencer, and apparently he is what is known as a video journalist, which is fine. Mm-hmm. I didn't mean any disrespect to the guy. I mean, because he does do great work, and I guess he's actually been in the White House as well. So anyway, no offense to old Nick whatsoever, and again, he did great work. It does great work, and so there you have it. There you go. In response to, I would also point out though that I'm pretty sure that Nick Shirley has no idea who I am either. So in fairness, all right, real quick, Riley Gaines. So have you been keeping up with this story of Riley Gaines and Simone Biles?
Yes.
So I've been following the story, didn't cover it yesterday because, frankly, we had a lot of other stuff going on. But I want to talk about it now because I do find it interesting. So Riley Gaines, there was in Minnesota the state championship, I guess, softball for high school, women's softball. And their star player for the winning team for the state championships in Minnesota, of course, is a man, basically. It's a dude that identifies as a woman, whatever. They let it play on the team. Minnesota, Tim Waltz, extraordinarily blue state. So the Champlain Park softball team, they posted a photograph of the team. And so Riley Gaines tweeted, quote tweeted, I guess, to be expected when your star player is a boy. Now, in all honesty, Joan, that is factually true.
It is.
That is factually true. The person who is a star player on the team is biologically a boy identifying as a girl. I'm reasonably certain, although these days you never really know, but I'm reasonably certain that the star player that is a boy still has the boy parts.
Yes. And if you look at the picture, he's like a foot taller than all the other girls.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, as the story goes, listen to this. This was the response. Now, again, to be expected when your star player is a boy. That's all that Riley Gaines tweeted out. Simone Biles, out of nowhere, comes out and starts putting Riley Gaines on full blast. You're truly sick, Simone Biles said. You're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost a race. Straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports, maybe a transgender category in all sports. But instead, you bully them, is what Simone Biles tweeted out. Now, and then she finally said, one thing is for sure, no one in sports is safe with you around. Now, I think that is clearly a bit much. But here's what I thought was interesting. There were so many people that were for Riley Gaines on this one. And so really, I think part of what this story is here is that Riley Gaines has a lot more support than she did when she first started down this road, because I think people like Riley Gaines have been going after the transgender movement in sports, you know, men playing on women's teams.
Yeah.
So when you've got Riley Gaines and others who are calling this absurdity out, people begin to realize, well, wait a minute. That's true. Why are these men playing in women's sports? You know, take all the politics out of it, and that is what's going on. And so all this, I mean, the internet just blows up with this. You've got Simone Biles, a gymnastics legend, and you've got Riley Gaines, who, of course, everybody knows who Riley Gaines is. I think more people know who Riley Gaines is than Simone Biles. Simone Biles is the one that actually dropped out for a time, correct? She dropped out of gymnastics for a time.
When she actually took a spot. This makes me so mad. She took a spot on the Olympic team. And when it came to, I think it was the floor routine that she was supposed to do, she said she had a mental health day and didn't compete. So that means that all the young girls who were behind her, maybe the 4th or 5th place, you know, they could have moved up in the lineup if she just took herself out. If she didn't feel like she could mentally handle competition,
unbelievable.
Get out, because those young girls are still coming up through the squads, and they could have placed.
So Riley Gaines finds a 10-year-old tweet, or 2017 tweet. So
2017.
Where Simone Biles tweeted this out as they were talking about responding to the men's division results at the World Artistic Gymnastics Championships in Canada. Good thing guys don't compete against girls, or he would take all the gold medals.
Gee, Simone, that sounds like you acknowledge that the boys would beat the girls in every sport.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gaines, who Biles referred to as a sick bully for her anti-trans stance on Friday, let the Olympian have it. Oops, don't you hate it when your past self completely undermines your current nonsensical argument? Riley Gaines wrote while retweeting Biles' post. I love it. I absolutely love what Riley Gaines did. Now, here's something else that is going on, is Riley has been out there talking up Simone Biles, saying, you know what, she's a tremendous athlete. She is an incredible athlete. I have nothing but love and respect for her abilities as a gymnast. And Riley Gaines she does a podcast and these other things. And so this is part of what she said about the battle with Simone Biles. And by the way, I will point out that Simone Biles never actually had to compete against a man.
She never did.
Otherwise, she might have a different opinion.
And she's also reserving, you know, she waited until she's no longer a competitor. Her career is done.
Yep.
Now she's going to come out and say these things.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, Simone?
Absolutely. Here's Riley Gaines.
In just 2 tweets, Simone Biles basically tarnished her reputation to anyone with a shred of honesty, to anyone with a moral compass, and to anyone with an innate desire to protect women, to fight for equal opportunity for both men and women, especially as it pertains to sports. She has what I would believe, what I have seen, this is the conclusion I'm drawing based on the response that we have seen over the past 12-ish hours at this point on social media. She's basically incinerated her legacy in just 2 tweets. So congratulations, Simone Biles.
There you go. Yep. Love it. Love, love, love. Oh, she said a lot more.
There have been very few who have crashed out spectacularly as bad as this. I can't even, for the life of me, understand why in the year 2025, Simone Biles would suddenly take the stance that she did.
Well, I think because she's out of touch and because she doesn't have to, nor has she ever competed against a man. And that's why she is taking the stance that she has. And I think, you know, I thought it was fascinating that there was a conversation on Fox News yesterday where they were talking about how the Democrats are trying to become, you know, more moderate and meet people in the middle. And that's apparently what the Democrats are trying to do. But I guess my question is, are they? Because here's what I see with Democrats. What I see with Democrats are they're siding with criminal illegal aliens. They're siding with, you know, men playing on women's sports teams. That's what they're siding with.
Yeah.
So I don't understand where, I mean, if they've got to try harder. I guess that would be my point. If they're really trying to become more moderate and meet people in the middle and stop talking about bathrooms and all of that other stuff, but I mean, they're still doing it, and they're doing it at every turn, and they're doing it proudly. By the way, as far as Riley Gaines goes, she says things are not getting any, because Trump signed the executive order.
I know, yes, that amends Title IX back to its original form.
Right, but it's still happening in states. I mean, states are refusing to even acknowledge what Trump signed.
Over the past 7 days, we have seen this happen in 5 blue states where boys have taken girls' state championship spots, state qualifying spots, or their spots on the podium. Minnesota, California, Washington, Oregon, Maine, the list goes on. Cannot believe this is still happening. And reminder, in Minnesota just a few months ago, I was there on the House floor as every single Minnesota House Democrat and Democratic senators in the state of Minnesota voted in opposition of protecting women and girls in sports.
I mean, there you go, Joan. What were we going to say?
So to that end, the Department of Education has already launched investigations into the Minnesota League and also the California Interscholastic Federation over their policies that allow these boys to, you know, beat up on girls in these sports.
I would love it if they took, I don't know what they get. They had to take the trophy away from that team.
Absolutely.
In Minnesota.
That boy, his name is Marissa now. He pitched 7 shutout innings to lead that team to a 6-0 win in the Minnesota Girls State Softball Championship. It's disgusting that anyone
disgusting.
And anybody that, can you imagine the parents on the sideline going, "Yay, Marissa. Are you kidding me?"
Here's the thing that I also don't get. You have on the Minnesota team, because I saw some of the highlights, if you will, of this game, and you have all of these girls that are just cheering for Marissa there and very excited that they have now won the state championship. And it's shocking, like not one of those girls, not one of Marissa's, and I'm air quoting this, not one of Marissa's teammates looks at the absolute unfairness of this and says, you know what? I mean, we're going to quietly cheer, but this is BS.
Yeah.
I mean, not one of them.
Right.
It would appear.
Right.
So anyway, by the way, Joan, I've got to call out your privilege.
Uh-oh, I have privilege?
Joan Jones has privilege. Because no matter what Joan Jones does, she's always intelligent and hot.
Oh, gosh.
According to 4345.
Okay.
So every day I come in here and I have to see on the super text line how Joan Jones is intelligent and hot. Now, I'll leave the hot part alone because I don't want to, be hauled into, human resources. I'd have to fly down to Atlanta. But very intelligent, I will say. Nobody ever calls me hot.
Well, Dan, I think your wife probably does, right?
You know what the funny thing is? I teed it up for you, Joan, and you missed it. You whiffed it. Yeah, I said nobody ever calls me hot, and then your line is there's
Dan,
a reason why, Dan.
Dan, you're hot.
No.
Okay.
I'm actually
I missed it again.
You did. You whiffed it again. That's okay, though, Joan, because you've got Joan privilege. No matter what you do, Joan Jones, intelligent and hot.
Oh, it's a lot to live up to.
It is, boy.
Yeah.
You better not shank this tease, Joan Jones.
I haven't even written a tease, but I'll tell you what I've got coming up.
Okay.
Are you ready for that?
Yep.
Okay, so little on the foggy side this morning. This is one of those mornings where you don't want to hit the snooze button. All right. So we're also going to tell you about the shooting that occurred yesterday. The police officer in downtown Nashville who killed a man with a gun. The body camera footage has been released, and we've got some of it for you. That's all coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7.
Wait. Okay.
WTN.
So Chris now says Joan is hotter than a jalapeno in a heat wave.
Oh, boy.
And
Again.
7998 says Joan is a hot mess.
Hot
I don't
mess.
think you're a...
That's what my husband always says.
That you're a hot mess?
I'm a hot mess.
Wow. Is that a good thing?
Well,
No.
he means it, he likes to tease.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Anyway, I guess I
Dan
probably
is
should have-
dropping like it's room temperature.
Thank you, 0229. All right, we got to go.
It's
WTN.
all done with love.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Joan. We'll continue on the other side on WTN. or .558, Nashville's morning news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Okay, coming up in the radio broadcast today, we have a lot going on. Yes, it is true. We have actually arrested another Chinese scientist shipping biological material. That is true. If you heard that, that story is true. People still responding to the Greta Thunberg video announcing she was kidnapped by Israel when in reality they gave her sandwiches. We'll talk about that story for you as well. And of course, everything going on related to the riots in Los Angeles. Yes, they are still going on. And by the way, when I say Los Angeles, also just realize that I'm not getting into specific areas, but in Santa Ana, which is in Orange County, which is part of Southern California, there were some either riots or some skirmishes going on down there as well. They're sort of spread all around the city, from what I understand. And the conservatives that I know, by the way, in Los Angeles, which I only know one conservative in Los. Well, I don't really know many people from L.A. anymore, but because, the liberals no longer speak to me, and so I only know one conservative. But he says, by and large, the people that he knows that are conservative or even remotely independent-minded, they're beside themselves with the violence that has taken over Southern California. So we'll continue to talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7.
Good morning, 6 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It's one of those kind of mornings around Nashville. It's warm, it's sticky, and we've got a side of heavy fog.
A dense fog advisory continues until 8 o'clock this morning, and that is for most of Middle Tennessee. So extra time for the morning commute. Use some caution, have those low beams on.
Yeah, good advice there from Stefano. And if you're headed downtown, be advised, too, there's a huge fire department presence because of a parking garage fire. It's happening at the structure that's attached to the Renaissance Hotel on Commerce Street at 6th. Now, WSMV4 is there talking to some of the guests who were evacuated from that hotel.
And the whole building was filled with smoke. As soon as you walked out of your room, it just filled with smoke. So everyone had to come out here and just a lot of smoke, explosions from the building.
Yeah, she said explosions. We're still waiting to get confirmation on this, but Channel 4 is reporting those explosions led to a partial collapse of the structure, the 5th floor onto the 4th floor. No word on injuries yet or the damages that were done to the cars in that parking garage. We're going to stay on top of this all morning long. The TBI is leading an investigation into yesterday's deadly shooting of a man walking down Hermitage Street with a gun in his hand. It took Metro Police less than 6 hours to release the body camera footage of Sergeant Robert Weaver telling that man more than 20 times to put his gun down.
Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Metro Police, drop the gun!
But that man eventually turns and runs toward the officer with the gun in his hand. Sergeant Weaver believed, he said, that his life was in imminent danger and fired shots toward that man. He was taken to a hospital and died. Sergeant Weaver is okay. Now, the man had no identification at the time of the shooting. Anti-ICE protests that started in L.A. are now spreading to other U.S. cities. Protesters also rallied last night in Dallas and in Austin, Texas, in solidarity with L.A. In Austin, demonstrators gathered outside a federal building in the city's downtown.
We were not being aggressive towards the cops at all. We were just protesting as normal, and they came. They barricaded us in, and eventually they arrested a couple people, and then they started throwing mace at us.
Yeah, protesters there tore down construction barriers, scooters, and other equipment, threw them in the middle of the street. Police in Austin used tear gas and pepper spray, and they made dozens of arrests as well. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures, little change this morning. The Dow futures are down 21, but the NASDAQ futures are gaining 10. S&P futures, they're plus 3 points. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather just ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got a large police presence, fire vehicles down at Commerce Street and 6th for that garage fire this morning. Be advised that you may have some trouble getting around downtown because of it, and a dense fog advisory. That's in effect until 8 o'clock this morning. They'll cancel it if the fog conditions improve, but at the moment, visibility is down to a quarter of a mile or less in some spots through the entire Middle Tennessee. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And Joan, just real quickly.
Yeah.
I was talking about Joan privilege, where you could like screw up anything and the folks in the audience would still believe that you are, which you are, intelligent and hot. It's kind of an ongoing joke. And I was talking about how nobody ever tells me I'm hot. 4702, Dan, the bulk of your listeners are men. Do you really want a bunch of guys telling you that you're hot? Do you know what? At my age, in my the state of my hairline and everything else, I'll take it where I can get it. Yeah, absolutely.
I get it.
All right, moving right along. Hey, you know, there's going to be a couple of things in the news today. Number one, I don't understand this at all. So apparently now the Democrats are going to put on a rapid response protest to support Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Oh, no. You mean here?
Yeah, Friday. So they say, not in my America, Friday, June 13th, 9 a.m. Fred D. Thompson Federal Building and Courthouse, 719 Church Street in Nashville, Tennessee. They are going to have, I guess, a rally to support Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Now, it also says on this flyer, stop the weaponized DOJ. Where were they when Biden was in office? I mean, you want to talk about weaponizing a DOJ. Stop constitutional abuses, no vengeful prosecutions, and no sham trials. But you know what the stunning thing is? It is that they are literally supporting Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who beat his wife, to the point where she had to call, you know, the police and do all of that. And she filed paperwork with the courts, all of that. And also where he is a known gang member. And according to all of the documents that the DOJ has, and Pam Bondi, you know, he's had parts, he's had situations where he took part in a murder. He, of course, all the trafficking and everything else. So I find it interesting that Fox News had this whole discussion yesterday about how the Democrats, they're trying to move more to the center and become more moderate. I just don't know, where are they doing that? Like, where is the evidence that the Democrats are trying to moderate? Because they're simply not. I mean, they're funding, and I went through this in the 5 o'clock hour, but, you know, a lot of these groups are funding all of this violence that is happening in California, and we're now starting to see protests as well in places like Texas and so forth. And we'll have to see what happens here on Friday at 9 a.m., Friday the 13th at 9 o'clock, as the Democrats locally go to support a guy who is a wife beater and also an accused human trafficker, and the rest of that. So congratulations. I mean, if that's who you want to support, Democrats, you go right on ahead. I think it's basically Trump derangement syndrome personified, because if Donald Trump is against it, well, then they're going to be for it, or vice versa. So that is going to be Friday at 9. We'll have to see what happens. I think that it will be very interesting. Now, what is next for the 7th Congressional District? Congressman Mark Green coming out yesterday. I was surprised by this. I don't know if anybody else was as well. Although we do know that Congressman Mark Green, he already resigned once. I'm going to tell you, I'm disappointed in him. The reason why I'm disappointed in him is because if he didn't want to be there, he shouldn't have run for his current term. Because now what's going to happen, because he's 6 months in. 6 months in, and he's going to bail. And so now you're going to have a situation where for a few months, because, I mean, make no mistake, the 7th Congressional District is solidly red. So there's not going to be, there's no fear of that district suddenly going to Democrats. That's not going to happen. But still, it's going to leave the Republicans for a couple of months anyway, short, with only a 2-seat majority instead of a 3-seat majority, because it's going to take some time to go through the process of going through the special election and all of that. So Mark Green, that special election, it's going to be held. The governor has to issue a writ of election within 10 days of a vacancy being created. But listen to this. State law mandates that the special election cannot be held until at least 100 days after the governor calls for it. Now, this means that the primary could be expected, I did some math, around mid-August. Then the actual special election would follow around late October or November. But remember what he said. Congressman Green said that he is going to stick around for the vote on the big, beautiful, big, ugly bill. And so once that's done, then he'll go ahead and he'll resign, and then that's when this whole timeline begins. Now, the people who decide to run, according to the law, they don't have to live in the district they serve. Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution only states that you have to be 25 and a U.S. citizen for 7 years. And again, make no mistake, there are conversations going on right now behind the scenes. You have, possible folks that are thinking about running, speaking to donors. You've got donors who are recruiting people as well. So there is a lot going on. A lot of people are angry about this. A lot of people are irritated with this because, again, not to belabor the point, but Congressman Green is 6 months into his term. And again, I will say that I'm just disappointed because if his heart wasn't in it, then he should not have run. I know that there's a lot of people, when he quit the first time, a lot of people begged him to stay. A lot of people wanted him to stay. So he did. And I mean, if you know anything about Congressman Green, you know that he's gone through a lot personally over the last year or so as well. And one of the things that he said is, listen, because my immediate thought, I don't know about you, Joan, but my immediate thought was that the congressman was going to be running for governor. But then he said, nope, I'm going into the private sector. There is a job that I'm really excited about. And quite frankly, I believe he's had it with Washington, D.C. So there's a lot going on there. There's a lot to talk about.
But you know what?
Yes.
On the other hand, if Mark Green isn't up to the fight, we need somebody who's a fighter. You know? Mm-hmm. So
I agree.
And it is a shame that he's leaving. Yes, I'm sure he has been. But if he's not up for the fight, then maybe it's best that he does.
And that is a great point, Joan. And Matt spoke about this yesterday, where he's been absent. If there's two people, I think I was able to get him on for the first time in a year. I think a couple of months ago. Bottom line is, since a lot of this stuff started happening in his personal life, and marital trouble and all that, I don't want to belabor the point, but he's basically been absent. He hasn't been doing a lot of interviews. He's been almost as absent as Governor Lee, quite frankly. So if he's not in it to win it, if he's not in it as Joan said, if his will is not there to fight, well then yeah, we do need somebody who is up for the fight, and we do need somebody incredibly conservative. So this is again something obviously that we'll continue to watch, and I'm certain that names are going to start coming out almost immediately. But ultimately, part of what this means is that once he resigns, then the Republicans will only have, right now they've got a 3-seat majority. The Republicans will only have a 2-seat majority in the House of Representatives until we have a primary and then the special election. So this does leave the Republican Party in a bit of a pickle because they already have, as everyone knows, an incredibly slim majority. So I'm not happy with the congressman. But you know what? If he wants to come on, I'd love to talk to him about it. I don't think that he will. I invited him on yesterday, and pretty much the answer was not only no, but heck no. It is 6:16, so there might be other stuff going on too. Whatever. Joan, I'm having a bad brain day because
okay,
I played the tease bed, and I'm supposed to throw to traffic. So it's 6:15. Joan Jones, what is coming up in the traffic? Good God, what is coming up in the traffic? All right, 6:16 on WTN. And
Time to right the ship.
weather, high of 85 and partly cloudy.
Take a cleansing breath.
You know, I think that's what it is. Earlier in the broadcast, I accidentally called Joan Pamela. And now, in fairness to me, I worked with Pamela for like years and years. So, and I talked to her all the time. So there is that. And then, of course, everybody talking about consistently how much of a hot tamale Joan is. That also threw me off this morning. And so I'm having a bad brain day. But that's okay.
It is okay.
I think part of it is I didn't have my Raisin Bran this morning, Joan.
No Raisin Bran?
No,
your day is off.
Now, my day is
Totally
absolutely off because usually every day it's a Raisin Bran day. And today I had no Raisin Bran, but whatever. Hey, you know what's so funny? Can we go back to something? I don't know if I actually handed this audio off to Matt yesterday because I forgot to play it. And I don't know if he did, but you know who was on MSNBC? Justin Jones. And it was...
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was on MSNBC. And do you know what the guy on MSNBC called Justin Jones? You ready for this?
Oh,
Listen to this real quick. And then I'm going to play you the audio of what Justin Jones had to say.
This is the time. The line has been crossed, and it's time for us to rise up as a generation and let them know that we're not going to allow them to take us backwards in our history to darker days that we don't want to go to.
Brother Jones, that was the B12 shot that democracy needed this morning.
The B12 of democracy. I mean, the B12 shot for democracy. I mean, only on MSNBC would they say that about Justin Jones.
It was the B12 shot that democracy needed this morning, and we are grateful to you for it, as always.
Did he call him Brother Jones as well?
I think he did call him Brother Jones. I think he did. Now, what did Justin Jones say? Well, a lot, actually. So he was on MSNBC. And, of course, if you don't know, Justin Jones, of course, a Metro City Council member. And clearly a political opportunist, and he's in it for the clicks, whatever. So he's being questioned about the L.A. riots, among other things.
We can judge the effectiveness of our movement by the response of our opponents. Seeing the news.
All right, so I want to make sure that we're all clear what Justin Jones said.
We can judge the effectiveness of our movement by the response of our opponents.
So we can gauge the effectiveness of our movement by the response of our opponent. Well, we could say the same thing, right? We can say the same thing. Donald Trump has gone out there and he is deporting all of these illegal alien bad guys, and vast majority of them are bad guys. And so you have, Justin Jones saying what he said. Well, the left is going crazy about what Donald Trump is doing. So it's clear by Justin Jones' own words that Donald Trump is effective in what he is trying to do. So is Tom Homan. As a matter of fact, there is some new polling out there, and I'll share it with you, but vast majority of the American people do agree with what Donald Trump is doing with the deporting of all of these illegal alien bad guys.
Seeing the news last night that the federal government is deploying the National Guard against citizens in this country, and where Hegseth is threatening to send in the Marine Corps, we see that this administration wants people to be afraid to protest, to show up, to hold the line. But that's precisely what we must do in this moment. We must push back, fight back. The majority of protests have been nonviolent.
Yeah, that is, I called him a councilman. He's a state rep, Justin Jones. So, but I've saved the most horrifying piece of audio for last. He's talking about these protests and how they're nonviolent. And it's almost like, you know what I've noticed? I've noticed that we all live in two different realities. The Democrats, where hurling rocks and spitting on law enforcement, burning cars and shutting down highways, those are what's known as peaceful protests to the Democrats and to people like Justin Jones. So, again, I'd like to ask the question, what do Democrats define as violent? We talked about that yesterday. According to Metro City Council member Justin Jones, it is actually ICE who is violent. Listen.
Who has been violent has been the ICE agents, who are a terror organization. Here in Tennessee, we had an organization that also used to wear masks and terrorize people that was founded in our state called the KKK. And that's exactly what ICE is doing, dragging people out in the dark of night, going to workplaces, going to elementary school graduations. They are a violent criminal gang in America, and they will be held accountable.
See what he said about ICE? I mean, that is just wrong. on so many different levels. I'm going to play it again. Again, this is State Rep Justin Jones.
Who has been violent has been the ICE agents, who are a terror organization. Here in Tennessee, we had an organization that also used to wear masks and terrorize people that was founded in our state called the KKK. And that's exactly what ICE is doing, dragging people out in the dark of night, going to workplaces, going to elementary school graduations. They are a violent criminal gang in America, and they will be held accountable. Maybe not by this administration, but this administration will not always be in power because they're a fragile, weak system of governance that is a shame on America. One day the Trump Library is going to be a place that children go to learn what is wrong with America, how we move forward from that history, and what is the promise of America that we must continue to fight for. And his children will be ashamed of him. That's why they're trying to ban books, because they know that they're on the wrong side of history.
He is exhausting. Like, he is just a rapid fire of stupidity, that Justin Jones. And by the way, memo to Justin Jones, and I think I may have said this yesterday. If ICE were as violent as Justin Jones says, then those people attacking them and spitting on them and throwing rocks at them, they would be dead. It's a nice try, though, for Justin Jones. It is 6:22 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. One person says Robbie Starbuck for the 7th Congressional District.
That's not a bad choice.
Oh, I would love Robbie Starbuck. I would love Robbie Starbuck to throw his hat in. You weren't here, Joan, when we went through all of the Robbie Starbuck stuff way back when. I'm not going to relitigate that whole thing. But here's what I do believe. I do believe that people know more about Robbie Starbuck now than they did, I don't know, whatever that was, 3 or 4 years ago, when he tried to run for the 5th Congressional District, I believe it was. And basically, the Republican Party said that he wasn't eligible. I believe that happened because they were scared of Robbie Starbuck. Now, that being said, because, Robbie is somebody who will call out the Republicans as, in my opinion, as ineffectual as they are, Robbie will call them out. And so I don't think that they wanted him to run. But beyond all that, I do believe, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, I do believe that Robbie is more influential and effective doing what he is currently doing. I almost feel like he would, this is no offense to our congressman, but I do believe that that would be, quite frankly, a waste of his immense talent. All right, 6:24, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan Jones has the news coming up at 6:30. Joan.
Yeah, we'll take a look at what happened in L.A. overnight. We've taken some reporter audio from KTLA. Kind of gives you an idea of what happened there overnight. You won't be surprised by any of it, but that's coming up here at 6:30.
Is this Jason Carroll?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
On Super Talk 99.7, you'll see.
So Jason Carroll, who is also a report. You know what, you guys in the other room, KGB and Louie, quit shaking your heads. I know what time it is. I'm having a bad brain day. So
let the man alone.
Yeah, leave me alone. I kept making Justin Jones a Metro City Council member, and he's a state rep. So Jason Carroll is a reporter, and he was actually trespassing. And so he was on the air live. I'll see if I can find the audio. He was on the air live, and they almost arrested him right there. I'll see if I can find the audio.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, a lot coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. .625 on WTN. Dan Mandis here. Guys over 40. If you are running low on energy, maybe you're just feeling off, Low T Center is where you need to go. Get started with testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, and join lots of guys who are going through the same thing as you. Now, they've got clinics all over Nashville. They're really easy to get to. You walk in, you see a real medical provider, and you get that energy back. No complicated process. Just results, and remember, these treatment plans, they are tailor-made just for you. You can get treatments at the clinic or you can be treated at home. But either way, you're always going to get the highest quality of care with the Low T Center. And right now, you can get a free consultation. And if you qualify, treatment is covered by most major medical insurance. So reclaim that energy and become you again. And by the way, they can also help with prescription weight loss options as well. So head on over to thelowtcenter.com and book your appointment today. That is lowtcenter.com. Simple, quick, and totally worth it. Dan Mandis here, 627 DT McCall's. Listen, a great Tennessee company. They are here for their fellow Tennesseans with great prices, selection, and value. Now, I've been telling you for years about DT McCall's. I'm an actual customer. They've been helping people out for 3 generations here in Middle Tennessee. If you need it, they've got it at DT McCall's. For example, indoor furniture. If you've got a room to fill, go to DT McCall's. Of course, you know all about their lawn mowers and outdoor lawn equipment, appliances. Listen, if it plugs in, they've got it, and they've always got specials going on to save you money. Refrigerators, washer and dryer sets, dishwashers, you name it, they've got it. Great selection and outstanding value as well. They've been at it for over 100 years with a focus on customer service. DT McCall's, and if you buy it, they'll deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lafayette, Lebanon, and Franklin, always online, dtmccalls.com.
Good morning, 6:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. This is one day that you don't want to roll over and hit the snooze button. Dense fog keeping conditions pretty slow this morning on the roads. Visibility, it's down to a quarter mile an hour. Make that a quarter of a mile or less in some spots.
Around bodies of water, if you go over the Cumberland especially, that's where we're going to see some of the worst of it this morning. So extra time for the morning commute.
Yeah, Channel 4 Stefano DiPietro. Now, the dense fog advisory runs until 8 o'clock this morning. Protests and rioting continued in the streets of L.A. last night, but police had one other problem. This reporter from KTLA says looters decided to take advantage of all the chaos.
Another night of unrest here in downtown. We know several businesses here were targeted by vandals that are just taking advantage of this situation. After looting the Apple store here on 8th and Broadway, video showing the store shelves practically emptied out here. Multiple cell phones and laptops were reportedly stolen. There are security guards here right now. Glass windows were broken and spray painted as well. The Apple store, one of many businesses looted as thieves targeted the jewelry district last night.
And investigators also put a man seen assaulting a federal police officer during those protests on the FBI's most wanted list. They have now raided his home. 40-year-old Elpidio Reyna was seen throwing rocks at federal officials as they were leaving a command post, injuring one of the officers. And a major shakeup at the CDC.
A massive change by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. removing all members of the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee, which makes recommendations on the safety and efficacy of vaccines. Members getting a notice saying this email serves as formal notice of your immediate termination. Kennedy releasing a statement saying, "Today we are prioritizing the restoration of public trust above any specific pro or anti-vaccine agenda."
ABC's Lionel Moisey
It's
reporting.
okay. They'll all get jobs with the pharmaceutical companies.
Oh, they probably will.
I mean, I
too.
guarantee you they are already employed because that's that whole revolving door thing.
Absolutely. You're so right. That is the news. We've got traffic and weather just ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Dan Mandis here at 6:32 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. And by the way, KGB, can you get that little soundbite where Joan said, yes, Dan, you're absolutely right. And we're going to put that on a button bar. And we'll just, so I can play it, whenever I need to, just draw
I'll ask
on
the audience
Joan's
for permission.
Something happened
wisdom.
to the audio. I think it's gone now.
I was just waiting for you to say, yes, Dan, you're absolutely right for once. I thought that's what you were.
It already got deleted.
Oh, what a shame.
Oh, what a shame.
Sometimes that happens.
I know. Dan Mandis here with a question for you. If your roof was destroyed in a storm, how much of that replacement cost would your insurance company cover? Now, if you don't know, you really do need to ask because some insurance companies refuse to pay full replacement cost. Now, they're going to deduct money for an older roof. This means that the insurance company will depreciate how much they pay for your roof claim. If you've got an older roof, they're going to pay you less, and that could leave you on the hook for thousands of dollars. Now, my friends at King & Associates Insurance, they will pay full replacement costs. So whether you have to replace a 10-year-old roof or a 2-year-old roof, King & Associates Insurance, they will pay for it to be replaced, period. It is that kind of focus on customer service that does make King & Associates Insurance one of the best insurance companies around. 615-329-8121. 615-329-8121. Get your royal review. tkinginsurance.com. 6:35 on WTN. Dan Mandis here. I've been talking about the horrible shape that my bathtub is in upstairs. Literally, it has holes in it. It is ugly. It needs a lot of work. Well, if you've got a bathtub like I do, my friends at Zintex, they can help you. If you've got a bathtub that does need work, they have been in business since 2001, and they are here to help you. Now, at Zintex, they can remodel your shower, your bathtub, even convert that bathtub into a walk-in shower. Now, these types of home improvements can increase the value of your home, and Zintex can have it wrapped up in a day. Now, Zintex is an award-winning company that offers limited lifetime warranties for both their products and that installation as well. Now, you can make your bathroom safer with a walk-in shower complete with grab bars and a bench seat. Now, this is great for the older folks, as you know. So fix, remodel, or convert that tub into a shower today with my friends at Zentex. They've been doing this a long time. That phone number, 629-258-7747. A great deal going on right now. You mention me, and you get $1,750 off or no interest for 24 months, whichever works best for you. And also, no payments for 2 years. 629-258-7747. Zentex.com, Zintex, Zentex.com.
Well, you've got delays this morning in Spring Hill on 65, the northbound side at Saturn Parkway. There is a crash, and there's also heavy fog reported in that area. Be careful. Green Hills, Hillsborough Pike at Crestmore Road. Also a crash reported there. And then pretty slow on 40, the eastbound lanes before I-840. An accident there, and traffic is slow from Centerville, Dixon Highway, exit 172 up to that point. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, it is interesting. 640 Nashville's Morning News. So from a congressional standpoint, we're talking about, just real quick, Mark Green, of course, dropping out, so we'll have a special election there. There have been discussions where Andy Ogles, some Republicans are talking about trying to primary Andy Ogles, and of course we know that John Rose is running for governor. So there's a lot going on congressionally here in the state of Tennessee. So we'll continue to watch all of that. And I do wonder if Mark Green dropping out if that will impact the decisions of those who are thinking about trying to primary Andy Ogles, if they'll just have a run at Mark Green's seat instead. Anyway, lots going on. We'll continue to cover it for you. By the way, we all know that Freddie O'Connell is doing all he can to protect illegal aliens. This came out this morning. Headline, Tennessee bill proposes removing public officials who disrupt ICE efforts. Now, you know, this comes on the heels of, you've got Afton Bain, who she was doing everything that she could, State Rep Afton Bain, doing everything that she could to try to warn the illegal aliens. You had a Metro Council member as well who did the same thing. And we all know that Mayor Freddie O'Connell, also is trying to help the illegal aliens through any number of means, including, by the way, doxing federal agents. So now the Republican lawmakers in Tennessee, this is from WKRN, Republican lawmakers in Tennessee filed a bill Monday that would make releasing certain records regarding immigration enforcement actions a crime. The filing of Senate Bill 1464 comes after Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell enacted Executive Order 30, which requires the Metro Nashville Police Department and Metro Council members to document and publish interactions with federal immigration authorities. And of course, and I said on day one that Mayor Freddie O'Connell, with this executive order, could not be trusted with that information. And then it turned out, of course, with the doxing story, that I was proven to be right. In May, a city document, as the story goes on, in May, a city document detailing 35 immigration-related interactions between Metro Police and federal agencies was released. The report initially named individuals, including a Metro Council member, an immigration and customs enforcement analyst, and Homeland Security officers. However, the names were later removed from the public version of the report after, and I will add this, after many screenshots were taken, and they're all over the place. They're easy to find. And look, Freddie O'Connell knew exactly what he was doing. I don't want to do, hey, last week called and they want their topic back. But Freddie O'Connell knew exactly what he was doing when he released those names. Oops, my bad. Didn't mean to do it. Hey, did you guys get the screenshots? Okay. We're going to go ahead and take those down. Sorry. That's what Freddie O'Connell did. Tennessee House Speaker Cameron Sexton has since demanded that the mayor rescind the order, claiming it jeopardizes state and federal agents. However, Mayor O'Connell stated that he has no plans to rescind the order, adding that it helps make sure that nobody can accuse local, state, or federal entities of activity that did or did not occur. So now Sexton has joined Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson in filing Senate Bill 1464. I love this. So now you have Cameron Sexton, who is, of course, Majority Leader there in the House, and you have Jack Johnson, Majority Leader in the Senate, apparently joining forces to file this Senate bill. I love this. Mayor O'Connell's decision to release sensitive information undermines the rule of law, violates public trust, and jeopardizes the safety of those who protect our communities. This bill makes it clear. If you use your office to interfere with federal immigration enforcement or endanger officers, there will be swift and serious consequences. Tennessee will not be a sanctuary for lawlessness, says, again, House Speaker Cameron Sexton. Let's see here. I'll go through some of the details here just real quick, and then I've got some other stuff to get to. According to the filing, SB 14 will make it a Class E felony for state and local officials to negligently release identifying information of officers involved in immigration enforcement, which is good. Provide for ouster from office for those who violate the law, expand the confidentiality protections under the Tennessee Public Records Act to cover undercover officers in sensitive enforcement activity, and finally strengthen existing penalties in state law for unauthorized disclosures of protected law enforcement information. So I like this. I like what Senator Johnson and Speaker Sexton are doing, and hopefully this passes very quickly. And I hope that the Democrats in not only the state legislature, but also in the mayor's office and also in the city council, I think that I believe and I hope that they all pay attention. It is 6:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. At 6:46, as far as your weather goes today, a high of 85 and partly cloudy. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so news from last night out of Los Angeles. I know that everybody wants to know what's going on. Well, according to the Daily Mail, this is the headline. I'm just going to encapsulate it for you. LA fights back with immigration protesters zip-tied and loaded onto buses en masse as Marines head in. Now, we still had some violence last night because there are thousands of these people out there. But we do still have the National Guard out there, from my count, about 4,000. 700 Marines also trying to quell the violence. But again, we still have cars being torched. Law enforcement, they continue to be attacked as well. Police are firing rubber bullets into crowds to try and calm things down as well. So the violence does continue in Los Angeles, other parts of Southern California. There is talk that it is going to continue to spread. We did see massive protests in the state of Texas, in Austin and Dallas as well. We are seeing video of, among other things, cinder blocks being hurled at police. That seems to be what these folks on the left are looking to do, and consistently and constantly are doing, is throwing these cinder blocks at police. The FBI has now identified one guy, and maybe you saw this video. It went viral. There's one guy that had all of these pieces of cinder block, and he was, I believe it's the guy that was wearing a motorcycle helmet, and he was just throwing these cinder blocks at police. Well, Pam Bondi was on Sean Hannity's show last night. Apparently, the guy's name is Elpidio Reina.
The case where the guy was breaking up the cinder blocks and he was throwing them at police cars. He was wearing a mask. The FBI has identified him. That guy has just been identified. So you can run, you can't hide. We are coming after you federally. If you assault a police officer, if you rob a store, if you loot, if you spit on a police officer, we're coming after you.
I mean, I love it. And of course, what is so horrifying about these riots is that you have some people openly attacking law enforcement, openly breaking the law, and an entire party simply doesn't care, or they seem to be advocating for these attacks and this violence. And of course, you know, the visuals, because we've all been talking about this for the last couple of days, the visuals are horrifying. You have people riding around on motorcycles with Mexican flags, burning American flags, burning cars, and the smoke is absolutely insane.
Look at it out there. It looks like a third world country, and it's not. It's the United States of America. We are not standing for it. Donald Trump won't stand for it. And something else tonight, look at all those great men and women in the LAPD. We are going to protect them. If they will not protect them and prosecute people that abuse the LAPD in terms during a civil unrest under 18 U.S.C. 231, we can prosecute federally people who assault state law enforcement officers with a maximum of 5 years in prison, and we are going to do it.
Yeah, this is Pam Bondi, of course, Attorney General, on the Sean Hannity show late last night. So you got this guy, of course, making all of these threats against law enforcement, and there's a lot of them. There's, whether it's politicians, whether it is people on the street, and this was one thing that happened yesterday, where this particular protester is threatening to dox law enforcement.
We're gonna dox you! We're gonna dox you!
So in case you can't tell, we're gonna dox you is what this guy is saying, which means that people asking on the super text line, Dan, this term keeps coming up. What is doxing? Doxing is basically exposing the identities of these agents, perhaps their addresses, the cars they drive, where they live, family members, and so forth. And that, of course, makes these family members and also these agents vulnerable. And so that is just one of the things that these Democrats are looking to do to try to stop ICE from doing their jobs. And so as far as this bad guy that they are searching for, the Daily Mail reports this. The Los Angeles FBI has warned that this guy that Pam Bondi was talking about should be considered armed and dangerous. And they say on social media that he faces 8 years in prison if convicted of what the FBI calls, a brazen attack that could have killed officers. The suspect was allegedly photographed wearing a green and orange Los Angeles Lakers cap, along with a mask, as he was filmed breaking up cinder blocks into smaller pieces before, they say, tossing them. He was throwing them at law enforcement. So there's still a lot going on in Los Angeles, and we'll continue to keep you updated. Did you see what Tom Homan said yesterday about Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles? Oh, it was epic. It made headlines. I've got the audio straight ahead. It is 6:52, and Joan Jones has the news coming up at 7. Joan, what's up?
Yeah, no cars in, no cars out. A downtown parking garage still closed after a serious overnight fire. We're also going to hear audio from the body-worn camera of a police officer who shot a man dead in Nashville yesterday. Those stories and more coming up at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here. You know, the weather in Middle Tennessee can get crazy. We've always got storms in the forecast, which is why you need a backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. Now, you can get a free quote and get peace of mind when you have one installed. Now, the power goes out in your neighborhood. Have no fear. If you've got one of these backup home standby generators, your power is going to be on, and you buy that backup home standby generator from the Generator Supercenter. Now, they do feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well, and yes, financing is available. 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952, the website, GeneratorSupercenterofNashville.com. 6:58 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, is there anything new on the whole not Scott Bessent, but Elon Musk and Donald Trump Twitter feud?
Not that I know. Isn't it funny how L.A. sort of wiped that right off the
Yeah, I mean, the riots in L.A. took over everything. But the president was, there's a couple of things in the news. I'll get to it in the next hour. But apparently there's a story out there that Scott Bessent and Elon Musk actually got into a physical altercation.
What?
Now, there was also the rumor that Elon Musk got the black eye from Stephen Miller. Remember we talked about that?
Yeah.
Well, now President Trump is addressing those rumors, and we're going to talk about that. I've got some great Tom Homan audio as he is calling out the mayor of Los Angeles and the governor of California as well. Very, very big news day continues right here on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Looks like we've got some big problems on the roads this morning. There is the new diverging diamond at BNA, but there is also an accident this morning, and there's a problem on Donaldson Pike at I-40. They're telling us at the traffic center that traffic is backing up onto westbound 40. The diverging diamond is open now, and the work continues through the area. Diverging diamond is open now, and the work continues through the area. That's going to cause a big delay this morning. Be careful. Also in Columbia on 65 in the northbound lanes between Columbia and, Saturn Parkway. There was a crash, and they've closed off the roadway while they're cleaning up that crash and investigating. Again, it's 65 northbound between Columbia and Saturn Parkway, closed off this morning. And by the way, you may run into some dense fog on your way to work this morning as well. Stefano DiPietro telling us visibility is down to a quarter mile in some spots, maybe even less than that. So good idea to schedule some extra time going into work. We start today with some breaking news. A parking garage erupted in flames overnight in downtown Nashville at 6th and Commerce Street. It's the garage that's attached to the Renaissance Hotel, and Channel 4's Alexandria Adams tells us this.
Hotel guests telling us they could see and smell that smoke inside of the hallways of their hotel rooms, and you can hear explosions actually coming from the parking garage.
Yeah, the hotel guests were all evacuated while the firefighters continued working that scene. Now, there was a ceiling collapse reported from the 5th onto the 4th floor of that parking garage, and a handful of vehicles that are used by the city have been destroyed. Now, we're going to keep you updated as we learn more. We do know, however, that there are no cars allowed in or out of that garage. At this point, they're still waiting on structural engineers to decide if it's safe to go back inside. Metro Police have released the body cam footage of yesterday's deadly officer-involved shooting. The officer responds to a call about a man walking down the street at Hermitage Avenue with a gun in his hand when he warns another man who's approaching to turn around.
Stop, go back, go.
Yeah, the officer continues to warn the man with the gun to drop it, but that man with the gun then turns around and charges at the officer.
Drop the gun! 580. Shots fired.
Shots fired. The man died at the hospital. The officer is okay. He was shaken up, but he's fine. And there's no word on the suspect's identity so far. New information from the company that runs the Trousdale Correctional Facility, where a riot took place on Sunday night. Core Civic says no prison guards were taken hostage and no prisoners escaped, but that prison remains on lockdown as TBI investigates. One guard, 3 inmates were all injured. Some of those inmates started fires, destroyed security cameras, and took over the prison yard. And the organizers of the Bonnaroo Festival say that crews need more time to get ready because so much rain has fallen. So the festival grounds are opening later than planned. They'll open this afternoon. Bonnaroo runs Thursday through Sunday in Manchester. Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. No big changes on the pre-market trading this morning. Dow futures are down 8 points. We've got NASDAQ futures plus 26 and the S&P futures gaining just 5. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, so we have problems out at the airport because of the new diverging diamond. So traffic is backing up onto westbound 40. That's exit number 109 as work continues, moving everyone over onto that area this morning. Also, Columbia, 65 northbound side between exit 46 and 53. That's Columbia and Saturn Parkway. It's closed. There was a crash there. Police are out there trying to clear it, and they're also doing an investigation. Again, that's 65 northbound lanes between exits 46 and 53 closed down. The Hermitage stop and go traffic on 40 westbound between Central Pike and Donaldson Pike. That's again due to that new interchange. And Belmont, a crash. The Gore is blocked on 65 northbound between Wedgwood Avenue, exit 81. I don't know what it's between, but right there at Wedgwood Avenue, exit 81. Got to watch it. The Gore is a block there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.708 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up, the war of words between Tom Homan, Donald Trump, Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass, and on it goes. Some good news this morning if you're just joining us. California, they are beginning to see mass arrests. of people that have been attacking the police and lighting those cars on fire, the graffiti, throwing cinder blocks at the cops as well and the law enforcement. So the president's 700 Marines clearly helped, and also the 4,000 National Guard helped as well. And so I've got all the latest on that coming up here on WTN. But there is other news that I do want to get to. And one story that did seem to just evaporate from the news cycle very quickly was the Elon Musk and Donald Trump, Twitter feud, the whole thing. So clearly Donald Trump is done, and I think that it is clear that he is done. But now we are starting to hear some stories about, accusing the Trump administration of being incredibly dysfunctional. As a matter of fact, this headline. Now, realize I know, and you know that I know, that oftentimes these stories are exaggerated. New York Post, though, a couple of days ago, this happened over the weekend, Elon Musk body-checked Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent like a rugby player during a fiery clash at the White House, according to a new report. The heated scuffle broke out in mid-April after both men pitched rival plans for the IRS to Donald Trump in the Oval Office, with the president ultimately backing Scott Bessent's choice. The Washington Post, of course, quoting former White House official Steve Bannon as saying, now, realize that Bannon hates Elon Musk. So, and I'm not calling, are you calling Steve Bannon a liar? No, I'm not calling Steve Bannon a liar. But all I'm saying is Bannon has always hated Elon Musk. So there is that. Just consider the source. The pair supposedly left the meeting hurling insults at each other within earshot of the president's office, Bannon telling the outlet. Scott said, "You're a fraud. You're a total fraud," Bannon said, referencing the then Department of Government Efficiency honcho's attempt to slash $1 trillion in federal spending. And this is actually a story that we've heard before, where you had Scott Bessent calling Elon Musk a fraud and saying that he was not cutting nearly the money that Elon promised. But this was the first time that I heard the accusation that Elon actually body-checked Scott Bessent like a rugby player. The New York Post, the verbal spat turned allegedly physical when the world's richest man rammed his shoulder into Scott Bessent's rib cage like a rugby player, prompting the Treasury chief to fight back. The paper said Steve Bannon claimed. Bannon telling the outlet it took multiple people to break up the playground tussle between the SpaceX and Tesla founder. He was quickly removed from the West Wing. You know, I don't know, Joan, do you, if you're listening, do you believe that happened? Do you believe that?
Who's reporting it?
Steve Bannon supposedly told the Washington Post. And I mean, Steve Bannon, I mean, he's certainly, I don't know Bannon's current relationship with President Trump, but I do know that Bannon hates Elon Musk. And Bannon, I believe, does like Scott Bessent. So I don't know what really happened.
Don't you get the feeling that sometimes Steve Bannon is over the top? And I'm just saying it nicely. Like,
right.
Sometimes he gets a little crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is. He's over the top. Well, and he's over the top with the hatred of Elon Musk because Steve Bannon said that Trump should deport Elon Musk and take over SpaceX.
Which that's what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, just come on, dude. So anyway, I don't know if I believe it or not. I have such a liking of Scott Bessent that I hope that didn't happen. But clearly there was some dysfunction. Clearly, there were a lot of people within Donald Trump's cabinet that did not like Elon Musk. Whether or not that happened, the White House, by the way, is denying it. So there is that. Now, President Trump was asked, need some audio, gents. President Trump was asked if he is going to sell his Tesla. Because remember, there was that whole conversation.
Yes, yeah.
And Trump said he wasn't sure exactly what he was going to do with it. But he does say now that he will not be selling his Tesla, but he may move it around. This was Donald Trump. I think this was yesterday.
Are you going to get rid of the Tesla and the Starlink service that you have here at the White House?
No, I haven't heard that. I mean, I may move the Tesla around a little bit, but I don't think we'll be doing that with Starlink. It's a good service.
Where are you going to move it to? Move it around. What do you mean?
I have a lot of locations.
Actually, about the Tesla.
I got so many locations that I don't know what to do with them all.
About the Tesla, did you ever see Elon Musk get physical with the Treasury Secretary?
No, I didn't.
And I tried to
They
ask...
did have an argument, but I didn't see a lot of physicality there.
And there was this New York Times report that he did not want to talk about, Elon Musk, that alleged that he, towards the end of his time in the White House, was blurring the lines between recreational use of drugs and medicinal. Do you think he ever had drugs here at the White House?
I really don't know. I don't think so. I hope not. Look, I wish him well. You understand. We had a good relationship, and I just wish him well. Very well, actually. Yeah.
So that is Donald Trump, wishing Elon well.
He sounds so measured,
He does.
And I'm into that. I like the president being measured with his responses and not incendiary.
That's exactly right. And by the way, the New York Times, of course, they did report that Elon was on all kinds of drugs. The president on the Air Force One was asked the question about Elon and the drugs, and this was the question and the response.
Did you have any concerns about his drug use when he was working for you?
I don't want to comment on his drug use. I don't know what his status is. I read an article in the New York Times. I thought it sounded very unfair to me.
There you go. So, just right up your alley, Joan. The president measured and almost caring. You can tell in his tone that he may be thinking back to, better days with Elon Musk. So we'll continue to talk about that and a whole lot more. I believe that this storyline of Trump and Elon Musk, I think that it's over now, and the media may try to keep it going, but I think that Trump right now, he's in a good place. I think that Elon Musk was a divisive person within the administration. I do believe that. I liked what Elon did, but I'm just telling you that there's enough conservatives and enough people that I read and trust that have been saying that Elon did have issues within the White House, and he specifically had issues with Marco Rubio and Scott Bessent. It is 7:16. Time to check the roads on WTN. At 7:16, as far as your weather today, it looks like we've got a high of 85 and partly cloudy. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, go to YouTube, watch us on the YouTube channel, and you can find us there and take the Daily Dan poll. Like and subscribe to the channel. And the Daily Dan poll today is, and I'm going to have to paraphrase, but do you believe that do you want the Democrats to continue to support illegal aliens because politically it is good for Republicans? Now, earlier in the broadcast, while it was almost even, as a matter of fact, it was like 53% said no and 49 to 50% said yes. So we'll continue to update the numbers as they do. But go take the poll if you would. And again, that's on YouTube. So Gavin Newsom, the governor for the fine state of California, he is on the defensive. Now, there's a lot of reasons why the governor is on the defensive. Quite frankly, it's because he looks bad in all of this. There has been a war of words between Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom. Of course, this goes back a long way. But Newsom said, this isn't about public safety. It is about stroking a dangerous president's ego, Gavin Newsom said, either on X or to a reporter. President Trump had said yesterday that Newsom needs to be arrested And a reporter did ask the president about that.
A crime has he committed? I think his primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country.
Yeah.
And that's pretty bad. It's the wrong philosophy. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, many of them prisoners. They're taking up your health care. They're taking up your space in schools. They're taking up your hospital. And in many cases, they're criminals.
So Newsom was interviewed because of that comment and the other comments that people have made. And it's become part of the discussion about his arrest. So I don't know if you've seen the video, but Newsom, he's got his chest puffed out. You know what I mean? He's trying to act really like a bad A, and he's got his head held high, and he's daring the president to arrest him.
I told the president, just get it over with. Arrest me. Move on. If you need some head to scalp, do it with me, but stop messing with these kids. Stop messing with 4-year-olds. Kids in elementary school.
So it's funny because Newsom is sitting there talking about 4-year-olds. I have not seen any 4-year-olds in zip ties. I have not seen 4-year-olds being arrested. Now, their parents, maybe. And remember what Tom Homan famously said, that the parents can take their kids with them if they end up getting deported. But I also don't see any 4-year-olds out there torching cars and attacking cops. But that does, tell you that, in my opinion, Gavin Newsom is getting desperate to bring back control of the narrative. And he also spoke about ICE.
We've got kids. We have hundreds of graduations down here. Kids are not going to their own graduations. Families, grandparents, here legally. Mixed status families in some cases, scared to death to go to a graduation.
Well, if they're here legally, and they're not going to graduations because they're scared, well, that's on them. I mean, if they're here legally, then they should have their paperwork proving that they are here legally, and there's no problem. So there's this narrative out there that, people that are here legally, they're afraid to go outside. Well, that's on them. That's not on Trump. That's not on Tom Homan, because if they're afraid to go outside, well, then they've either lost their paperwork or they don't have it.
People are scared to walk down the streets. It's not just Home Depots getting their car washed. We have incidences. I didn't believe it because what was I thinking? I actually believed when they said this is not true. But then I saw videos. They're doing checkpoints, checking people's IDs. We've never seen this kind of deployment in so many actions. It's mass panic out here in the nation's largest county, in the nation's largest state. Good, hardworking people, decent people. These are not the criminals. These are not the thugs.
So people are afraid to walk down the streets of Los Angeles because all that is going on. Make no mistake that when I lived in Los Angeles, there were parts of Los Angeles with a lot of illegal aliens in those areas that I was afraid to walk down those streets. Make no mistake. LA has had plenty of issues over the years because of illegal immigration. Now, coming up, I've got some great audio from Kristi Noem. She was on with Sean Hannity, and she absolutely put the L.A. mayor on full blast. We've got that story for you and a whole lot more at 7:22. Joan Jones has the news coming up at 7:30. Joan, what's coming up?
So, some new information that we have learned about the fire overnight at a garage in downtown Nashville, and an accident on a roadway in Germantown over the weekend. It appears that a country singer was involved. We've got those stories coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
At 7:22, Dan Mandis here. Summer is approaching. Still feels like summer, as a matter of fact, right now. And you want to be active. You want to go out. You want to have fun. But if you are sidelined with chronic back, neck, and knee pain, you've got to go to my guy, Dr. Kevin Mitchell at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. He has helped so many people across Middle Tennessee. He can help you as well. Now, they are experts in spinal decompression therapy. It does work. No pills, no surgery, and no injections. And right now, a great deal for the month of June. You know, they did charge Donald Trump 34 felonies. Of course, not one of them stuck. But at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, we're going to turn that 34 into something positive. It is the presidential special. For just $34, you can get your initial consultation, your x-rays, and that very first treatment, just $34. When you call and mention my name, that phone number is 615-246-5009. That $34 starts you on your road to a healthier and more active life. I'm Dan Mandis, and the Wellness Institute of Nashville has my seal of approval on this presidential special that could change your life. 615-246-5009, painisbad.com. $726 on WTN. Listen, if you're maxed out on credit cards, if you're struggling with high interest debt, you could pay it all off in just days with Loan Pronto's rapid equity loans. Dan Mandis here. You can get cash out right now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, and no BS. The rapid equity loan program at Loan Pronto, simply put, it is amazing. Now, one Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off their debt, they renovated their kitchen, and they cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That is a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto can help you do the same thing. Instant approvals, low rates, and no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity, that is yours, and you should use it to put yourself in a better position financially. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call them right now, 615-499-5780 to start that conversation. 615-499-5780. Online anytime, loanpronto.com. They are A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've got nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews, and their service is off the charts. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. 7:29, Nashville's morning news, and Joan Jones is standing by for the news coming up at 7:30. And hey, Joan, guess who's in Los Angeles?
Who's in Los Angeles?
Our own Jennifer Sheets. Have you met Jennifer Sheets?
Yeah.
She's way cool.
Yeah,
and
she sure is.
She does a weekend show. She's all about entrepreneurship and those kinds of things. She's in Los Angeles amidst all of these riots.
Whoa.
I had her scheduled for an interview about the perils of AI, which I don't know if you saw. There's a report that came out a couple of days ago that is really, really scary. Basically, they're talking about how there's not going to be a lot of people left working with AI, and that's going to crumble our economy because people aren't going to be in the financial situation to be able to buy things. I mean, this is going to have a domino effect that is going to be catastrophic on our economy.
Thanks for the cheery news, Dan.
That very uplifting interview.
Yes.
I just as I'm going through that, I'm like, wow, I sound like a Danny Downer today. Anyway, Jennifer Sheets will join us at 8 for an update on what's going on in Los Angeles and a whole lot more straight ahead. The news with Joan Jones right now.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. An overnight fire and partial collapse at a downtown parking garage. This happened at a structure between the Renaissance Hotel and the public library on 6th at Commerce just before 2 o'clock this morning. Guests at that hotel say they heard loud booms and their hotel filled with smoke before they were evacuated. Now the 5th floor of that garage has collapsed onto the 4th floor, destroying vehicles used by the city, according to District Fire Chief Martin Hampton.
Most of the vehicles that were involved were part of the Metro cleanup vehicles that go through downtown, the street sweepers, the ATVs that they use to get around, like during Fan Fair and every other time. That's the majority of what burned up, as far as we know. But there were multiple cars involved, too, because the fire went all the way across the 4th floor.
Yeah, thanks to News 2 for that audio. Right now, that parking garage is closed, and folks who have their cars inside it are stuck. We're going to keep you abreast of all the developing situation there at that parking garage in downtown Nashville. Country singer Connor Smith, identified as the driver that struck and killed a 77-year-old woman walking her dog in Germantown over the weekend. Smith was behind the wheel of a Chevy Silverado when he hit Dorothy Dobbins walking in a crosswalk. Now, police are saying Smith didn't yield the right of way, but showed no signs of impairment, and he was not charged by police. Tennessee 7th District Congressman and House Homeland Security Committee Chairman Mark Green has announced his official retirement. Congressman Green said that he has an offer in the private sector that he cannot pass up. Congressman Green saying that he'll leave after the House votes on the reconciliation bill, and there will be a special election to replace him. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
7:32 on WTN. Listen, business owners, if your concrete floor needs a little love, my friends at Specialty Coatings, they can help you. Now, they do specialize, and they have for years. They specialize in concrete floor coatings and polished concrete. And they've been around for 30 years. Now, you've probably walked on some of their incredible concrete floor coatings. They've done work for all the major sports stadiums and the arenas, convention centers as well. You know, just last year, Specialty Coatings in Nashville installed over 1 million square feet of coatings for businesses across Tennessee. Now, those buildings include manufacturing, warehouses, airplane hangars, retail, and a lot more. Listen, if you own a business and you walk in and your floors are a complete train wreck, well, that leaves a bad first impression on people walking into your business. So let Specialty Coatings help you. Now, again, they've been around for 30 years, and they can help you. No matter how bad your floor looks, Specialty Coatings can fix it. And each project is customized to your building, your business, and your needs. 615-591-9491, 615-591-9491. You can email them, sales@specialtycoat.com. That's sales@specialtycoat.com. That is their website as well, specialtycoat.com. 7:34 on WTN Super Talk 99.7. Listen, it is June. It's time to get your HVAC system serviced the best way, the Busy Bee way. And you can get a free trip to the beach. Now, how does a beach trip sound to you? You purchase a new AC unit here in the month of June, and you're entered to win a free 3-day beach giveaway courtesy of Busy Bee. You buy the unit, they'll take care of the vacation, including gas, a couple of meals per day, and lodging. Winner is going to be announced on Facebook Live. Now, don't forget all of the June specials from Busy Bee. Get those air ducts clean. They are giving you a free package upgrade when you do. You buy that middle tier package, they are going to upgrade you to the deluxe. $500 off of select tankless or upright water heaters as well. And maybe you'd like 15% off of a whole home drain repipe. Lots of ways to save with my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They always want to save you money on your next HVAC unit as well, maintenance and plumbing too. For satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee HVAC 615-775-7833. Find them online, busybeehvac.com.
Okay, so we may have some still delays going on this morning around where the Renaissance Hotel is. That's Commerce and 6th Street downtown because of that parking garage fire. Also, the new diverging diamond out of B&A, that's causing a lot of traffic backup this morning. Columbia, you've got a crash on 65 northbound lanes. It's between Columbia and Saturn Parkway, and that roadway, that stretch of 65 north is closed still at the moment. Hermitage, 40 westbound, an accident, and stop-and-go traffic between westbound side between Davidson, Wilson County line and Donaldson Pike, an accident at the Hermitage, 40 westbound past Central Pike. And we also have a crash in Belmont on 65 northbound at Wedgwood Avenue. One more for you. It's in Hermitage, Old Lebanon Dirt Road, east of Chandler Road. Watch for a crash there involving injuries. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you being here, and welcome on in to Tuesday, June 10th of 2025. Again, coming up at 8:06, Jennifer Sheets, our own Jennifer Sheets, is going to join us live from Los Angeles, and we're going to have her on to talk about what is going on with AI, but she's in Los Angeles, and so we're also going to talk about the riots that are going on there in California. So, talking about California earlier, right before we went to the break, and you've got Gavin Newsom. Basically, what he's doing is he is daring Donald Trump, daring Tom Homan. He's got his chest puffed out and the whole thing. Talking tough. Go ahead. Let's get this over with. Arrest me already. You know, I really wish that somebody would. I mean, I would love it if Donald Trump arrested Gavin Newsom. I don't think the president will, but here's the thing. Is that Newsom is out there, and a lot of people on the left are doing this because this is what they do, is they're trying to grab hold of the narrative. They're trying to say that, well, you know, the president and Tom Homan, you know, they're arresting too many people that are, you know, here legally, or they're trying to go through the system to get their paperwork in order and all of these other things. Well, the reality is that there might be some people that are being picked up by ICE. That is absolute truth. If they're here illegally and they don't have their paperwork, then the American people overwhelmingly believe that Donald Trump should continue down that path. By and large, the people that Donald Trump and Tom Homan and ICE are picking up, not to mention those 700 Marines who are providing support, or the 4,000 National Guard members, is that they are looking for the bad guys, you know, the murderers and the rapists and the drug dealers and those kinds of people. This is Christine O.
Those are the people we're going after. I mean, those are our targets. Today we had over 400 to 500 targets we were going after that were known members of gangs in L.A. that have been victimizing people for years, that Gavin Newsom has done absolutely nothing about, that Mayor Bass has done absolutely nothing about. Listen, I served with her in Congress before she was ever mayor, and she is a train wreck of a mayor now that is endorsing these kind of activities, has allowed her city to be completely devastated with crime, and now she's holding press conferences talking about the fact that people have the right to peacefully protest and that they're a city of immigrants. Well, they're not a city of immigrants. They're a city of criminals.
They're a city of, it's the same thing. I run the risk of repeating the same storyline every single day. But, what the left does, they're just immigrants. Oh, it's a city of immigrants. No, man, it's a city of illegal aliens. And if there's one state that personifies the train wreckery of illegal immigration, that would be the state of California. And she's right, by the way. She is right about the leadership of Karen Bass. I mean, I want you to listen to these comments from the mayor of Los Angeles, her message to Donald Trump.
I would say stop the raids. Stop the raids, period. I would say give the power back to our governor. And if we need the National Guard, we can do it in their normal circumstances, which is the request is made local and the governor decides or not to grant that to our city.
And have you been in contact with the administration?
I have been in contact with the administration, not the president.
Yeah, the problem, of course, with her statement is that those being arrested, by and large, are the criminals beyond just immigration laws. And yes, again, I will repeat, it is possible that some people simply here illegally are also getting picked up in ICE raids. It is hard to know all that is happening there on the ground, but the reality is that we have tens of millions of people that have taken advantage of Joe Biden and his open border policy, and they're taking advantage of our country. And the American people and all of these folks who are out there and they're hand-wringing over these illegal aliens, all they are is illegal aliens. All they're wanting to do is have a better life. Okay, well, why weren't you so angry and upset when our border was wide open and we had millions of people coming across? It is only now that Donald Trump was elected president based a lot on when he said we're going to carry out mass deportations. That's why people voted for him. And so he's now doing that. And now you people are all up in arms. And there are people who are afraid to go in certain places in Los Angeles because of the illegal immigration. It is all over the place. And they are dangerous. But she continues, the mayor of Los Angeles continues to talk about how these are just a city of immigrants.
You disrupt the entire ecosystem. You impact our overall economy. If people are afraid to go to work, this is a city of immigrants. If they're afraid to go to work, you are going to hit our economy in a way that is completely unnecessary. This is a problem that started on Friday morning when the raids happened. This did not need to take place.
Oh, this has been a problem that's been going on for decades. It's one of the reasons I left Los Angeles. And that was years ago, is because of all of the illegal immigration and the crime. I mean, if I remember right, my kids' school, the one that they were supposed to go to, majority of the kids, man, they spoke Spanish. And so now the question is Gavin Newsom, is Karen Bass, are they impeding the efforts of ICE? And if they are, then Borders Czar Tom Homan says, yes, they'll be arrested, whoever it is, because, what the Democrats always say, no one is above the law.
They can't impede our enforcement efforts. They can't put hands on our officers. They can't knowingly harbor and conceal illegal aliens from us. I said, so if they cross that line, they're going to be prosecuted. And the question was, well, how about Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom? What if they cross that line? I says, they'll be prosecuted too. Haven't they said for the last 4 years, no one's above the law? They cross the line, we'll seek prosecution. You and I would be held accountable. They prosecuted President Trump. No one's above the law. That's what they said. Either is the Governor Newsom. If he crosses that line, we'll simply ask the Attorney General to seek prosecution. It wasn't a threat. No one threatened to arrest him. But if he crosses that line and commits a crime, he's no better than anybody else who will seek prosecution.
All right. So what about L.A. Mayor Karen Bass and her demand?
I would say stop the raids. Stop the raids, period.
Tom Homan says nope.
Well, I say leave him. Well, as a matter of fact, we got over 100 teams out today enforcing immigration law, and we're going to flood the zone. I've said for a month, sanctuary cities, you don't want us to arrest these bad guys that you just listed out. We could arrest them in the safety and security of the county jail, but they won't let us into jail.
Yep.
They release them into the community, which means we got to send a whole bunch of teams in the community to find this dangerous person that don't want to be found. So sanctuary cities are going to get exactly what they don't want. More officers in the communities and more officers in worksite. We can't arrest them in jail or arrest them in the community. If we can't arrest them in the community, we're going to increase worksite enforcement operation. We're going to flood the zone. And based on what LA is doing right now, we're going to continue to flood the zones. We're going to be there tonight. We're going to be there tomorrow. We're going to be there every day in the next 4 years, arresting public safety threat illegal aliens. We're not going to apologize for doing it.
Flood the zone is what Tom Homan said. Now, earlier, we were talking about some protests that are going to be happening here in Nashville. It's supposed to happen, apparently 2 protests are going to be happening. One Friday, maybe one Saturday as well. Details straight ahead, 7:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather for today, a high of 85 and partly cloudy. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. So Friday is a big day here in Nashville. Rapid response protest to support Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Now, it is crazy to think that with all that we know about Kilmar, as he's back in Nashville now, why a bunch of these moronic Democrats would want to support this guy. We know what he's accused of. And to me, anyway, and the grand jury does show that he has for years, the last 9 or 10 years, he has been engaged in human trafficking, transporting illegal aliens, I'm assuming, between Texas and Maryland. And you know that there's a lot of really bad guys in Maryland. And so and I mentioned this a couple of times, I think I tweeted this out too. Fox News was having this conversation about how the Democrats, as we head up to the midterm elections, Democrats are trying to become more moderate. They're trying to, meet folks in the middle. And I thought it was an interesting conversation. I don't know where that came from, but does that include siding with gang members? Does that include siding with people who are engaged in human trafficking? Because that's what they're doing. That's what the Democrats continue to do. So on Friday morning, 9 a.m., here in the city of Nashville, it's going to be Friday the 13th, by the way, at the Fred D. Thompson Federal Building and Courthouse, 719 Church Street in Nashville, Tennessee, they are going to be, I guess, rapid response protesting to support Kilmar Abrego Garcia, as they say, not in my America. Okay, whatever you say. And then on Saturday, I guess President Trump, remember, Joan, we're talking about the big
beautiful
parade?
Bill? Oh,
No,
yeah.
the parade
Okay,
that Trump's going to do on Saturday.
Yes.
It's like a military parade, right?
Yeah,
And
he's
so- and it
brought
just-
in a lot of vehicles.
Yes, and it just happens to fall on his birthday.
Just happens to.
So people are like, oh my gosh, it's just like Kim Jong-un. Really? I mean, that's what they're saying. Well, apparently protesters across the country are going to be taking to the streets and community hubs nationwide on June 14th. So that's going to be on Saturday. In what organizers expect will be the largest single-day anti-President Trump rally since the start of his administration. Do you know what these things are called? Apparently, no kings. That's what the day's festivity is going to be called. No Kings is a nationwide day of defiance, organizers wrote. From city blocks to small towns, from courthouse steps to community parks, we're talking about action. They're taking action to reject authoritarianism. And so that's going to be happening as well. I'm trying to see, of course, it's going to be happening in Washington, D.C. I'm trying to see, have you heard of anything happening here in Nashville?
Not
on
yet.
Saturday?
Not yet.
I have not seen anything either. If you folks have seen anything, Let us know. The super text line is open, 615-737-9986. 3899 says, did I miss where you talked about Mark Green stepping down? As a matter of fact, you did. I spoke about that in the last hour. So my official talk show host position on that is I'm very disappointed in Congressman Mark Green. I am, because we're 6 months in. So he is going to 6 months into this term, and he decides to call it quits. I'm disappointed because, yes, he's going to stick around for the big, beautiful or a big, ugly bill, depending on your perspective. But he is going to stick around for that vote. But then it's going to take several months to do a primary, then a special election. And in that case, as that happens, then we're going to have a slighter majority in the House of Representatives. Right now, I guess we're at 3. When he retires to his, great gig, whatever it is, we're only going to have a majority of 2. So that is a big problem, at least for me, and I'm sure that other people are, within the conservative movement are also chiming in on that. I'm also, I don't know, it's just very surprising to me. You know that he tried to quit once before, and President Trump and his allies talked him out of that. We also know that he's had, some personal issues as well, and so I think that may or may not have had a part of this. I don't know. All I know is that I am disappointed. We'll have to see who comes up for the 7th Congressional District. A lot of names are being thrown around within conservative circles. You have donors approaching possible candidates, and you have candidates approaching possible donors, I'm sure. And those names will continue to percolate as we get closer. It is 7.
Hey, I have an answer for you.
Yes.
There is a rally being scheduled for Saturday. Okay. It's called No King's Day Rally. This flyer, it says, was created by one of our great volunteers. It includes all of our coalition partners. It's happening at Bicentennial Mall on James Robertson Parkway. And they managed to spell amphitheater wrong on this post, yeah. So, perfect.
I love it.
Yeah.
They managed to spell amphitheater wrong.
Yep, they sure did.
Now, listen, if you ask me how to spell amphitheater right now, I'd probably shank it, but that's what, spell check is for.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
But they have no,
No, they're just
crazy.
Bunch of buffoons. You can call them crazy, I'll call them buffoons.
Okay.
Either way, they're dumb. All right, 7:52. Joan, what's coming up in the news?
Yeah, we have the latest on what happened in L.A. overnight. And we're also learning that there is still one person who's been hospitalized after that crash of the skydiving plane in Tullahoma over the weekend. Details on what's happening in that as well. Coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, listen, Father's Day is June 15th. If you are stuck with what to get dear old dad, listen, Brentwood Jewelry is here to help you out. You can get dad watches, cufflinks, money clips. They've got all kinds of great gift ideas for Father's Day. Again, Father's Day is coming up June 15th. My friends at Brentwood Jewelry, always here to help you out with great gifts for birthdays, graduation ceremonies, anniversaries. Gifts for mom, dad, wife, husband, whatever. Necklaces, bracelets, rings, and earrings as well. One of the other things that Brentwood Jewelry does is they do a great job with jewelry and watch repair as well. Find them online, BrentwoodJewelry.com, 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. It's Brentwood Jewelry, online, BrentwoodJewelry.com. 7:58, Nashville's morning news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, I love what you just did.
What did I do?
So 2805, we all look at the super text line.
Yeah.
So 2805, who is clearly a hate listener, he says, Dan, you're a blanking moron, because we're talking about the King's protest, whatever it is. So he says, what do you call a person who rules a country, who has immunity from everything, and can do whatever he wants, right? And he's trying to talk about how it's Donald Trump. Joan pipes in Joe Biden. JJ. I laughed my arse
Well, come
off.
on. I mean, it's the obvious. I didn't know if it was a trick question. That's silly.
What is it? Well, he's 2805. He's a hate listener, Joan.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I
2805, really? Come on.
I have such low expectations of hate listeners. I do. But that's okay, as long as they listen. All right, it is 8 o'clock on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and we still have things closed down on 65 northbound this morning between Columbia and Saturn Parkway. There was a crash, and they're working to clear that scene this morning. So be advised, 65 north between Columbia and Saturn Parkway shut down. Rioting on the streets of L.A. continued overnight, with police reporting looters targeting the city's jewelry district, destroying storefronts and hauling away the contents of entire stores. President Trump, meantime, sent 700 Marines to the city after ordering more than 2,000 more National Guardsmen to the scene. ABC's Matt Gutman is reporting on the baseless claims made by the city's mayor.
Embattled L.A. Mayor Karen Bass warning that Trump might be using L.A. as a trial run for other cities.
A test case for what happens when the federal government moves in and takes the authority away from the state or away from local government. I don't think that our city should be used for an experiment. Well, maybe we can do this to other cities.
Earlier in the day, the president suggesting that Newsom should be happy he sent in the military, that Southern California was a, quote, mess.
In other news of the morning, we're learning that one person is still hospitalized in critical condition after Sunday's skydiving plane crash in Tullahoma. In all, 3 people were flown to Nashville for treatment after that plane went down just after takeoff. The National Transportation Safety Board will take the plane and all the debris to a facility in Springfield for their investigation into the cause of the crash. A spokesman says they'll focus on 3 key areas: the pilot, the aircraft, and the operating environment. Structural engineers are surveying the fire damage at a parking garage in downtown Nashville overnight. That garage is located between the public library and the Renaissance Hotel, which was evacuated.
And the whole building was filled with smoke. As soon as you walked out of your room, it just filled with smoke. So everyone had to come out here, and just a lot of smoke, explosions from the building.
Yeah, those explosions, it's not clear what caused them. The fire is out and the investigation is underway. Market numbers here brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
From ABC News, Wall Street now. Delegations from the U.S. and China meet in London for a second day, looking for ways to tamp down the trade war. Recent data shows Chinese exports to the U.S. plunged more than 34% in May amid President Trump's new tariffs. 27 states and the District of Columbia have filed suits seeking to block the sale of personal genetic data by 23andMe without customer consent. DNA information on about 15 million people has essentially gone up for sale. ABC parent company Disney has agreed to pay Comcast nearly $439 million for full control over Hulu. Disney CEO Bob Iger says it's a step towards seamless integration of the Hulu and Disney Plus streaming services. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Now, stock futures are flat here just ahead of the opening bell. The Dow futures are plus 13, NASDAQ futures up 29, and the S&P futures are gaining 8. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Pretty serious crash this morning that has 65 northbound closed from Columbia to Saturn Parkway in Columbia. Also, Charlotte Avenue in Sylvan Heights. On the eastbound side, there's a crash right at 38th Avenue North. Got an accident in the Hermitage, too. It's on 40, the westbound side past Central Pike. And also at Hermitage, Old Lebanon Dirt Road, east of Chandler Road. Watch there for a crash involving injuries. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.806 on WTN. All right, so I'm on this nokings.org, Joan.
Yes.
Where you can, put in your zip code and all that, and you can find the one near you. Do you know what my question is? Like, they are holding, and Andrea says on the Super Text line, they are holding training sessions on Zoom and all these. Do these people not have anything better to do? I mean, they just got done protesting Elon Musk. And
George
now they're
Soros has big pockets, and he can pay them for a long time.
Real quick, because Jennifer Sheets is holding, but people are bombarding me with, these supposed Craigslist ads.
Yeah.
For like, hey, $12,500 if you'll throw a rock. I mean, I'm just going to tell you that I've been burned by those fake ads before.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if they're legit or not. I find it hard to believe that even George Soros would pay $12,500 for somebody for an afternoon. I just do. But whatever. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. But nokings.org, if you put in your area code, or your zip code, I should say, then you'll find the No Kings event near you.
You'll find where to avoid over the weekend.
Well, I mean, honestly, people are like, should I come into Nashville on that day?
Yeah.
We've had protests before in Nashville, and we have had some issues. Of course, we know that has happened, but I think we're going to be okay. See, we're not a blue state. Nashville is a blue city, but we're not a blue state, and I believe that we'll be okay. But we'll have to. I mean, obviously, use whatever precaution you can if you're coming into Nashville. I guess Chattanooga is going to have one as well, and I mean they're going to be all over the state.
And you can bet Memphis will.
Oh, Lord. Can you imagine? Jennifer Sheets is in Los Angeles, and she joins us, of course. Jennifer is well-known here on Nashville's Morning News. You're on all the time. You also host a weekend show that we'll get to. Jennifer, number one, how's it going in Los Angeles, and where exactly are you in the City of the Angels?
City of the Angels. Well, when I got off the plane and got out of baggage claim, right when you walk out and take your ride share, there's a group of protesters with the media and the police, like right there. Not a very big group.
Do you know what's kind of like, Jennifer? It's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever been to Hawaii, but when you get off the plane in Hawaii, they say aloha, and they put one of those flowered lei things over your. So in Los Angeles, it's like, what is LA now known for? Just protests and riots. So it makes sense.
Yeah, you got to it's like the gauntlet. You got to get through that to get to where I'm at, and I'm in Beverly Hills right now.
Oh, la-ti-da. So
so I'm here just because I have a company I'm helping out to do something kind of what we're talking about today, and so I'm here for the week and visiting. So I kind of had to come through all of that, and it's pretty peaceful here in Beverly Hills. But I'm like a stone's throw away from downtown. I can see it right here, and it's a mess. It's on every station. Every local station's covering everything live, and they even had these people in the back of a pickup truck that were handing out masks in boxes. They were opening up the boxes, and they were handing out masks to everybody so they could run around and destroy things and loot. Is pretty unbelievable
It's kind of funny how you said stone's throw, considering all the concrete is being hurled.
Right, exactly.
So let's talk about this, because you and I have spoken about artificial intelligence before. And as a matter of fact, you have actually predicted what we are now actually seeing. And so one of the things, and there have been a couple of different reports that are out, including one last week, that basically said that there is going to be an Armageddon as far as the jobs go, because a lot of jobs are going to be lost thanks to AI. And what that's going to do is that is going to impact our economy overall. So talk about that a little bit, because, I mean, you literally, if I remember right, didn't you write a book on this?
Yes, I did. I wrote a book that came out a few years back, and like 3 years ago now, and I have been screaming this from the rooftops. I have really, because of who I am and because I'm considered boots on the ground and I'm not the, have the backing behind me that other people do. No one was really listening. But what started happening was a couple years ago when Elon Musk started saying some things and Kevin O'Leary started saying some things, people were tagging me and I'm like, aren't you talking about this? And it's because they call it the job Armageddon. I called it the technology apocalypse.
Yeah.
I said it on your show. I called it that.
Here's a quote from the book real quick. The book is called Human Capital Lifeline. In our race to automate, we've forgotten who we're running over, and that the machines aren't buying the product. The people
Amen.
are buying the product. But if the people don't have jobs because of artificial intelligence, then yes, that will impact our economy.
This is the biggest upside down. If anybody's a fan of Stranger Things, I talk about it a lot. I call it the upside down. It's where we're like, if you're a company, what you're seeing this race to automate and be efficient. So they want the biggest, baddest, newest thing that's out there, processes that are lean and mean. They want to bring to their shareholders, lean and mean bottom line. They want to be profitable and everything. And in doing so, they want to keep up with what everyone else is doing. But when you race to do something like that and you're just tunnel vision and you're doing that, there's so much collateral damage, right? What they don't realize is they're going to race so far and so hard to get the best products, goods, and services that it's going to dump so many people that there's going to be no one to buy it. Well, that's the problem.
Yeah, the headline of this article, Daily Mail Money, the silent bloodbath tearing through the middle class and flipping the U.S. economy on its head. They say, and you just mentioned too, Elon Musk and hundreds of other tech mavens wrote an open letter 2 years ago about how AI was coming to automate away all the jobs and upend society. It looks like we should have listened to them. The article reads, layoffs are sweeping America, nixing hundreds of thousands of jobs at Microsoft, Walmart, and other titans. The newly jobless speak of a bloodbath on the scale of the pandemic. So have these numbers, how bad have they been over the past, year?
They're worse than what you're reading, and I'm going to tell you why. There's a couple reasons why. I'm not sure if people know this, but most of the time when they get reporting numbers like this, they come from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, which is fundamentally flawed. That data is fundamentally flawed. I've actually talked about that on your show a few times, because private employers are not required to report layoffs unless they're over a certain threshold. And most people won't do it anyway, because if you're laying off, you're in survival mode as a company anyway, right? So the last thing you care about is letting the Department of Labor and Statistics know what's going on. So it's flawed anyway. Then you got to think about 99% of the companies that are in the United States have 500 or less employees. They're small businesses. And of those small businesses, 64% of them are what our GDP is, right? So you start laying off that group of people and you start seeing what happens. And so the numbers are very flawed. I mean, the 2024 White House report said, but now this is back in 2024, said over 3.5 million jobs in clerical, customer service, and transportation would be disrupted, eliminated, or permanently altered due to AI by 2030. That's already happened. That number's done and gone. Like, that's already been hit and gone. And what people aren't understanding too is that we're not just talking about like blue collar jobs. We're talking white collar jobs. We're talking. I'm going to tell you right now that you'll probably see universities cut in half in the size of professors that are there, because people are going to be able to go online and get a curriculum. And now, mind you, Dan, I don't agree with all this, and I have ideas of what we could do to slow the roll. I mean, you have to integrate technology, very responsibly is what I want to say. But because age discrimination, this is going to be the other thing, and we just talked about this on my show. Just a couple weeks ago. This is so alarming. I have to tell you guys this. I'm going to actually post something up on my LinkedIn account about this. I'm screenshotting what's going on. I'm talking to a bot right now. I acted like I was looking for a job. And when I show the responses and that the major companies that are putting their whole all in on these bots and chat things and Workday to decide who's going to be the heartbeat of their company, and they're paying them to do this, and they're downsizing everybody that supports that's a human being, you won't believe what's going to be in charge. And so here's the thing. There's a huge, it's like one of the top consulting firms in the world right now that does HR placements, all that stuff like that. They're hired by the biggest corporations. I'm talking like Pfizer, the biggest ones right there. They're in a massive class action lawsuit right now. They are in a massive class action lawsuit right now because of the age discrimination algorithm that's built in. Now, I know you guys have heard me talk about before that I said how many of them will say if you put two spaces behind a period, they dump your resume before you even get it because that means you're over a certain age because you typed on a typewriter, and that's how you learned how to do that, and you're not running it through an AI. Yep. And so the answer they're trying to tell you is take your resume, throw it through an AI applicant tracking bot to better your chances to get your resume seen. And what happens is when it spits it out, it's not the same resume. And so the numbers right now, you're seeing the age discrimination, you're seeing they're not reporting things that they should be reporting, and it's just it's a hot mess.
It's a hot mess. It is a hot mess. So are the roadways. Jennifer, hold on. Jennifer Sheets joining us. I got a couple of follow-ups. We do, though, have to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes, high today of 85 and partly cloudy, 69 now on WTN. Jennifer Sheets is joining us. Of course, I believe, and I think most people do believe that you are an expert in AI. And a guy named Joe on the super text line says this: there will be plenty of jobs making backhoes, didn't end digging. Just more people could have pools. So what do you say to that?
Well, there has to be a shift of what's going on. I call it the analog job.
Yep.
So those of us that are over a certain age know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the things that in the industries that are going to be very difficult to have a humanoid bot. Like everyone knows, right? There's more than 100 humanoid bots coming off the line in December. Go look it up. And they've already have them in China. We saw the viral video that went of one of them going crazy. The things that are going on. I think it's going to be very difficult for them to find something that's going to go fix your HVAC and plumbing and understand terrain and go into everybody's house or, understand that for building new buildings or at this point, a pool. Yep. I think there's going to be certain fields that are going to be very protected for a while. And I do think our line haul drivers, I know they talk about automating semi-trucks, but right now they don't have two things. And I mentioned this before on your show. One, they don't have a braking system that will stop it that's strong enough to be run by electricity, like it'll careen off a cliff. And then two, the other thing that's going to happen with all of those types of positions right now is that there's going to be cyber attacks. So people can flip a truck or a car or steal goods out of it without having the counterpart to that. So I think that there's going to be a lot of those types of positions that'll be protected for a little while. But yes, like I said, remember 70% of workforce layoffs never make it to public reporting. So how much it's really affected, the time will tell.
Well, and this article talks about it's a financial Armageddon. It is for people who are losing their jobs. I guess part of my question is, okay, so the white collar jobs, talk about, because I've read that there's not going to be any white collar jobs left within the next 5 years. So I don't know if that's an exaggeration. So talk a little bit in our remaining moments about what jobs are most vulnerable.
Middle management. I can tell you that right now. And you know what? It's kind of full circle, because lots of times middle management has been the epitome of what's been wrong in this country. You get people that don't want people that are really strong and as talented or better to they're afraid they're going to take their jobs, so they keep them where they're at. And then they also tell their bosses and the C-suite executives what that this is the way it is, and never give solutions. Always are talking about the problem. And so, it makes one part of a company not match what the quarterly financials are. So those jobs are going to go. You're talking everything from like marketing, because so much is digital marketing, which is unfair because marketing is very creative and human driven, but there'll be a part of that will be protected, but the supporting cast of it will not be. You're talking about from paralegals, human resources, even anything that has a data driven componentry to it, like the legal field. I think education and curriculums, all of those things are going to be going to the wayside. And, they think that there's going to be enough jobs to take over. Well, one, they're scaling and moving so fast in one direction, it can't keep up with what's happening on the other side. And then you're also assuming that people are trained up to take what few jobs are going to be available on the other side. But here's the thing, and I have to say this, just tell me how much time we have left, Dan, because I got to say this is super, super important, is that what we're doing is we're being subservient to the technology. So the way to slow this and stop this is to stop it just making it make decisions for you. You're allowing something that's coded by another human being to make decisions for you in the most important parts of your business. It's one of the reasons why I'm in LA, because there's a company here that actually wants to hire 37, people into their corporation over the next year, that they don't want to use these tools to do it. They want to actually use communication and go kind of analog and have people's creativity be the leading driving force of the heartbeat of what makes their company grow. And I think you have to decide in your company what is important to you that you keep close to the cuff, and what you can use AI for as a tool to be able to become better at the services you offer other individuals without sacrificing your company and the people that are in it.
Well, and I got to ask this question, Jennifer Sheets. You talk to these companies all the time, and the ones that are obliterating their workforce, I mean, do they at the very least, I don't know, do they have some reservations? Do they feel guilty? Or are they just, you know what, we're going to save some money?
They're owned by private equity, most of them, and they are dollars and cents people, and they're trying to keep up with research and development, and they're trying to keep up with the countries overseas that are putting those humanoid bots out. And so, no, they don't care. And what they do is they listen to people that are consultants at a high level that have no boots on the ground to make these decisions that are so disconnected from what's actually really happening that they're not understanding what it's like, throw the pebble in the pond and the ripples go all the way to the other side. I mean, they're creating a tidal wave. And so really what needs to happen is companies need to stop, and they need to take and compartmentalize their company and the pieces of it where they want to grow and build and integrate AI and technology responsibly, but who they leave in charge of it and how that's done. That is right now, if companies don't start doing that, there won't be any jobs left. But the thing of it is, when they start to turn around and look at it, is when it hits their pocketbook, when nobody can afford to buy what they just scaled up to create.
I got to tell you, your book that you released a few years ago, Human Capital Lifeline, really was ahead of its time. Do you have plans? I've only got like 30 seconds left, but do you have any plans to update that book, or maybe make a second, write a second version?
Yes, working on it right now.
Of course you do. And Jennifer Sheets, host of Mastering the Workforce, right here at WTN, Sundays, 11 to noon. And Jennifer, as always, great to have you on. And have fun in ritzy Beverly Hills and stay out of Los Angeles, or at least where all the riots are. It is 8:23 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan Jones is going to have the newscast at 8:30. And Joan, what you got coming up?
Yeah, the fire's out, but that garage remains closed after a fire in downtown Nashville. Also, the CDC looks pretty different today after what Robert F. Kennedy just did. We've got that and more coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$824 on WTN. Mark Spain Real Estate. Listen, The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate is the easiest way to sell your home. You can save time and make the most money. Eliminate all of the hassle this summer. Dan Mandis here, and you know, I always do recommend Mark Spain Real Estate to my Nashville friends and family because I know that I can trust them to sell your home hassle-free. With a strong cash offer, as a matter of fact, with Mark Spain Real Estate, they've been ranked on the Inc. 5000 list of the fastest growing companies in America for now the 8th year in a row. They respond fast, and they're one of the most experienced real estate teams in Nashville. They sell more than 37 homes a day, making them the most experienced real estate team in America. You can trust them to sell your home hassle-free and with the strongest cash offer in the industry. Check them out, markspain.com. And I got to tell you, this is indeed a great company. Get your guaranteed offer today. There is no obligation. 855-299-SOLD. 855-299-SOLD. Find them online anytime. It is markspain.com and start packing. Dan Mandis here at 826. Listen, I've been telling you for years about United Structural Systems. Now, they're experts in waterproofing, concrete leveling, and foundation repair. Did you see the forecast coming up? We got storms Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And when that happens, you've always got to be cognizant of water and moisture in your basement or crawl space. When it rains, you've got to go down and you've got to see if you have any. And if you do, then you need some waterproofing help from my friends at USS, a great company. They've helped me several times with my home, and that is why I proudly endorse United Structural Systems. Again, experts in waterproofing, concrete leveling, and foundation repair. Now, I am one of 30,000 satisfied customers. Listen to this one recent review on Google. Guy says that USS was highly professional. The crew was phenomenal from start to finish. They treated his home as if they were working on their own home. And yes, he does give USS 5 stars all the way. They're not going to charge you for any unnecessary repairs, and you won't pay a dime until the work is done and you are a satisfied customer. We guarantee our best. Call USS 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com.
morning. It's 8:30 now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. No better this morning in Columbia, Tennessee. 65 northbound still closed down from Columbia to Saturn Parkway. That's Highway 412 to exit 53. There was a crash. It's just south of Saturn Parkway, and they are still working that scene this morning. Fire crews are still on the scene of a fire at a parking garage between the Renaissance Hotel and the public library at 6th and Commerce. The guests at the hotel there were evacuated. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac was on the scene earlier this morning.
Fire officials say that the flames started on the 3rd floor of the garage and then spread all the way up to the 6th floor. Multiple cars were destroyed. The rent between the 5th and the 4th floor collapsed.
And she tells us that many of the vehicles that were destroyed were city-owned vehicles. That fire was brought under control. Now comes the work of investigating the cause and finding out if the parking structure is stable. Protests and rioting continued in the streets of L.A. last night, but police had another problem. This reporter from KTLA says looters decided to take advantage of all the chaos.
After looting the Apple store here on 8th and Broadway, video showing the store shelves practically emptied out here. The Apple store, one of many businesses looted as thieves targeted the jewelry district last night.
Yeah, there were arrests made, and investigators put a man seen assaulting a federal police officer during the protest on the FBI's most wanted list. He is 40 years old, Epidio Reyna. He was seen throwing rocks as federal officers were leaving a command post, injuring one of them. A major shakeup at the CDC.
A massive change by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. removing all members of the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee, which makes recommendations on the safety and efficacy of vaccines. Members getting a notice saying this email serves as formal notice of your immediate termination. Kennedy releasing a statement saying, "Today we are prioritizing the restoration of public trust above any specific pro or anti-vaccine agenda."
That's ABC's Lionel Moisey reporting. Stocks, the opening bell moments ago, the Dow Jones Industrial is beginning 32 points higher. We've got the NASDAQ up 26 and the S&P 500 index gaining 10 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. At 8:33, how do I depend on Xfinity? Let me count the ways. Now, I've got a lot riding on my rock-solid internet from Xfinity. Riker, homework and gaming, of course. Amy working all day long from home. And, of course, yours truly, always prepping, always doing shows from my basement as well. All of that courtesy of Xfinity. And by the way, if something does go wrong, they can make it right with 24/7 customer service for whenever you need it. And I know with Riker in the house, he is 11. It is critical that we're able to check out what he's watching at all times. And with Xfinity, you can. You can depend on these folks, so check them out today online, anytime at Xfinity.com. That is Xfinity.com, 1-800-XFINITY, or stop by a store today. Dan Meadows here, and I got to tell you, an incredible new deal at the Glock store is waiting just for you. Now, I'm not a gun expert, but I do know the Glocks are indeed the highest quality handgun available at their price level. I mean, you can buy a cheaper handgun, but you can't buy a better one for the same money. Still, you know, the average Glock is around $600, and $600 is $600. So if you've always wanted a Glock, but the price is just a little bit out of reach, Glock Store has you covered because right now they can help you out. Glock Store is now a factory rebuilt Glock dealer. Now, what that means for you is that you can get a Glock almost brand new, definitely rebuilt, for a far cheaper price than a new one. A rebuilt Glock might have a retail display gun that's got a little scratch. It could be a brand new Glock with a little blemish in the finish. There's lots of reasons a Glock might go back to the factory to be rebuilt, but they always come back perfect, and they are there for you at the Glock Store. Find them online at theglockstore.com, and again, they also have shoot270.com. To find out what is currently available, go find them online at the Glock Store, at glockstore.com, or at the actual store. Type in factory rebuilt in the search bar. I have not been drinking today.
It could be a bore.
You know what? Maybe if I start drinking, then
that's right.
I can read. You know what? Funny thing, yesterday I read this spot. It was flawless. Today?
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Can somebody get Dan a beer?
You know what? What's funny is I actually, do you know what I did earlier today, Chris? What did you do? I called Joan Jones Pamela.
Oh, no.
I mean, look at how much we look alike.
Whoa.
I don't know. And then what did it? And then I made Justin Jones into not the state rep that he is. I made Justin Jones into
a city councilman or something.
A city councilman.
Yeah.
I did it twice.
He still wouldn't be fit for that job.
No, he wouldn't. He's not fit for
How
anything.
about dog catcher?
Nope.
Nope.
He's not fit for nothing. Anyway, the Glock Store. Whatever. Glockstore.com and Glock Store, minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere.
Okay, looks like the crash has now been cleared. This is on 65 northbound lane south of Saturn Parkway, but it is still pretty slow in that area this morning. Also, Midtown Broadway at 19th Avenue South, there's a crash in Madison. They're working a crash scene at Old Hickory Boulevard east of Marthona Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.838, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, I think, isn't that fog like gone?
It should be. Well, the dense fog advisory ended at 8 o'clock. So,
okay.
Should be out of here.
38 minutes. Our Stefano DiPietro official weather forecast still says fog.
Oh,
and the only fog around here
see.
clearly is in my head this morning.
So then we should still have an advisory until 9 o'clock when you're done.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, Joan. Do you know what I figured out my problem, though, Chris?
What's that?
Is that I missed my Raisin Bran this morning.
Oh.
See, here's the deal, Chris. When you get to be my age, you can no longer have Fruit Loops for breakfast or Frosted Flakes for breakfast. You have to go to, like, Raisin Bran.
Do you really eat Raisin Bran?
I do.
Really?
I love Raisin Bran.
Thank you, Joan.
Always have since I was a kid.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a little weird. That's a little weird, Joan. But yeah, I do. Well, you get to a certain age. I'm going to be honest. There are times when you need the fiber.
Yeah, helps the plumbing.
That's right. Anyway, but I didn't.
TMI.
So does black coffee and a cigarette if you really want to get things flowing.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I've never had a
heard.
cigarette, but
I've heard.
whatever.
From your old days, Chris?
Yep.
Yeah.
I did have blackberry cobbler for breakfast this morning.
You had blackberry cobbler?
Yep.
You're eating pie. And just for the record, you eat breakfast at 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
So it's just you, I imagine, in a dark kitchen with the fridge door open.
Yep.
Eating pie.
The funny thing is, that is exactly what I did. That is exactly what I did this morning. Yeah, the lovely Miss Amy, she, for whatever reason, she decided to run to the store yesterday and
get
some
blackberry pie.
Blackberry cobbler stuff, and she made it, and it's really good. So I'll probably have it for lunch, too, which means that there's probably no hope for me for tomorrow either.
Riker's not going to get a slice of that pie, is he?
No, he's with his dad, so he's out of luck. I don't know if he knows what SOL means, but that's what he is.
He's about to learn. He's going to learn
exactly
today.
right.
He's going to learn today.
Well, and the problem is Amy actually sent me a text, and she apparently did not like her own blackberry cobbler.
So
which
now
means
you
that
have to take one for the team.
Now I've got to take one for the team.
You can't let it go to waste.
Well, I think me and Bandit going to be gaining some weight over the next couple of days, actually.
I'm sorry. Why didn't you bring it in for the rest of us to enjoy?
Because it's mine.
Well, and Amy said it wasn't that good.
SOL. Joan, SOL.
Me and Riker.
That's exactly right.
Hey.
You and Riker. Bandit, though, he's going to get all the blackberry cobbler he wants.
Is that so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So did you bring anything for this, Chris?
I
Or are we
did.
just going to
I
talk
did.
about my blackberry
Check
cobbler?
check your DMs on Twitter.
Oh.
I'm still surprised that Andrew Cuomo's allowed to campaign for mayor.
Oh, okay.
After killing all those people in the nursing homes.
Yes.
It's kind of a red flag when you're voting for elected officials.
Yeah.
But he's campaigning, and he's. I don't know. You tell me what you think. But before we even play the audio, there's a picture, and it's Andrew Cuomo surrounded what looks like some sheiks, Sikhs, and he's rocking a turban.
He is. He's rocking a turban. It's orange.
He's rocking a turban. So that's just for starters.
Isn't that cultural appropriation?
It should be.
Yeah.
Why is he wearing that?
It doesn't even. And for the record, the Sikhs in the picture have like legit turbans. Him and the other white guy look like what they have is like swimming caps.
Do you know what that looks like? Did you ever watch Happy Days?
Yeah.
Okay. Joan, did you ever watch Happy Days?
Yeah.
So do you remember when Howard, the dad, was like the grand poobah and he had that thing on his head?
Yes, that's what it looks like. Yep.
I forget what that was, but that's what Andrew Cuomo looks like. He's like the grand poobah.
You nailed it. So he's sitting there and he's campaigning and he wants to let everybody know the biggest strength in the public school system in New York City.
All right, listen.
The city of New York. We are the capital of diversity. 180 languages spoken in our school system. 180 different languages, people from all across the world. That makes us stronger, not weaker.
180 languages spoken in the public schools makes them stronger, not weaker.
That is absolutely false. That is
the antithesis of the truth.
Yeah, because they need, all these different teachers. They need interpreters.
That's my first question. Okay, now do it with the teachers.
Yeah.
How many language? Like that's your students. Got it. How many languages do the teachers speak?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right.
You're probably going to get to 3, 4.
Well, the other thing is, although these days, do they even have school books anymore? Like your kids, do they actually have school? Well, they're homeschooled.
We do, yeah, but we bring our curriculum home
because Riker's getting ready to go to middle school, right? So it's going to be 6th grade. And Amy and I were walking around the school a couple of weeks ago, the new school, and there's no lockers. And I'm like, where the heck are all the lockers?
Isn't that weird?
Where are we going to shove the dweebs? That's what I would have said.
The dweebs?
Yeah.
That is so 1980s.
Do you mean like
stuff a kid in the locker?
Stuff a kid in the locker. Okay.
You ever been stuffed in a locker?
No. No, I haven't.
No.
But we have lockers here. You can throw me in one if you want to relive your high school days.
We could.
Yeah. Sadly, I wouldn't fit into one these days.
There's
too much cobbler.
Too much cobbler. There's no lockers in the entire school?
I didn't see any.
That's really weird.
I thought it was weird too. It was like, but you could see where the lockers were. Oh, okay, super texters. Do they still have lockers in school?
Wait. So you saw where they were? So they had removed the lockers?
Yeah. You could tell on the floor that there was like a little row where it was clear that's where lockers would go.
You know the obesity epidemic is bad when they're widening the hallways at our middle schools.
Maybe I'm all wet on this one, because Amy and I were truly baffled.
Really?
And then Riker said that all of the lessons are on a computer, like a laptop computer. What do you call those things?
How do you feel about that? Like a Chromebook?
Yeah, like a Chromebook. How do I feel about it? I don't know. I don't like it really.
I don't like it either.
Yeah. Do you know what I used to do? Did you do this when you were in school? Joan, did you do this? You'd in the front of the book, you'd see like who had your book before you.
Yeah.
Did you ever do that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you knew who made the dirty drawing on page 48.
42.15.
I think there's also an issue, though, because the schools don't want lockers anymore because that's where kids store their drugs, their paraphernalia.
That's right, Joan. Let's let the kids bring the drugs into the classroom.
Well, it means less searching. Like it would have to be in their backpacks, and of course you're going to go through a scanner now all the time,
which is insane.
Yes. The schools are less safe. Period. I mean, but with lockers, at least they don't have to search them anymore.
Everybody's saying, they don't use lockers anymore.
No.
That's crazy. I remember I had a conversation. This was my freshman year of high school. I got in there, it's first day, and I remember every teacher I had, I said, I'm going to need 2 books, 2 copies of the books. And they said, why? I said, I'm not lugging this thing back and forth.
Do you know?
So if you want me to have a book, I'm going to need one for home and one for here.
Did they actually give you 2?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
There were some school districts that said that they were going to a 2-book system for each kid because they didn't, because the kids were having back problems with carrying so many books.
Joan, I'm here to tell you that Riker's backpack for the 5th grade, that thing was, I've never.
A monster.
It was a monster.
Yeah.
He had all these books in there. And first time I lifted it up, because Amy would say, feel how heavy this backpack is. It was. How he, as a small child, was able to lift it was beyond me, but it was really heavy.
What do you think about the kids with the wheelie backpacks? Like it's a piece of luggage at the airport.
You know what? Feeling Riker's backpack, I'd do it.
I feel like that's lazy.
The man who needed 2 books.
Yeah, right.
The kid that needed 2 books.
Yeah, figure something else out.
And work. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Home and school. All right. Guy, 2805. He's been awfully hateful today.
He has been.
Yeah, so I heard that you were in a bit of kerfuffle on the text line with this individual.
He says, can I ask you an honest question, Dan? So
Here we
it's
go.
starting good.
You know when somebody says that, you're in for it. Do you have kids? Aren't you scared at all about what RFK is doing to the medical community and especially the CDC with the vaccines? Does that frighten you as a father? No.
Nope.
Or grandfather? No, it doesn't actually. And I interrupted Joan's newscast earlier, but as RFK is changing out the advisory board?
Yep, 17 advisors. All the members have been pulled.
I know you've been talking about this forever too. Those advisors, it's just a rotating door between them and the pharmaceutical companies. They're on the take, in my opinion. So
plus, and to the hate texter, what happens if he appoints all new advisors and they come in and they go, no, everything looks great? It takes away a talking point from so many people if you're worried about that kind of stuff, which that very well could happen. It's definitely within the realm of possibilities. I don't think it will, but I don't know. Let's just follow the science.
Listen, nobody can tell me that when my kids were young and they got exactly 7 vaccines their whole childhood, and now it's what? How
80.
many vaccines? 80.
It's like 70 or 80.
It's so crazy.
It's
There's
insanity.
something wrong. And I love that RFK Jr. is going after it.
Yep.
Me too.
Do you know what I used to love with the lockers at school?
Tell me.
Is when you get a little love note put in your locker.
Oh.
That's so funny. You're thinking just like my husband, who just texted me, where would you make out with your boyfriend or girlfriend if you didn't have lockers?
Can you?
I don't think they were getting in the locker. It was just it was
no,
locker
but you always
adjacent.
met at the locker.
You do the lean on. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You put the hand there.
That whole I never did that.
You get to slam the locker, and all of a sudden, that guy you didn't want to see is standing right behind it, like in the movies.
Yeah.
These kids are never gonna have those
I never did the whole arm in the locker. You
didn't do
courting
it?
the girl in there. No, I tried, but I just never succeeded.
Ever watch any of the Brat Pack movies?
Oh, Brat Pack
right?
movies. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Favorite Brat Pack movie, Joan?
16 Candles.
6. Okay. All right. Well, mine. I did like 16 Candles. I think it's obvious. Everybody knows that I was into the hey Breakfast Club.
Yeah. Right.
Big fan. I like 16 Candles too. We got it back when they would mail DVDs on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Right?
yes.
And it was rated PG, so the whole family could watch it.
Pretty good.
And then
Rated PG for pretty good.
yeah, that shower scene popped up, and 11-year-old me went, all right, I changed my opinion about the movie.
Shower in 16 Candles?
Yeah.
What shower
She was
scene?
topless in that
Who was?
movie. One of the actors, I don't remember her name.
Was it Ellie?
I think was it the redhead one?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Which is kind of crazy when you look back on it,
Yeah.
because she was the
Molly
whole
Ringwald?
the whole
Molly
movie.
Ringwald?
The whole movie was about
That's
her
it.
being a minor.
I don't think Molly Ringwald was.
There was a topless scene in 16
I
Candles.
think you guys are wrong on that. I don't think she was topless. Boy, I missed it then. That's got to go higher up on my list of movies I got to watch over and over again.
Yeah, it's there. Oh yeah, yep.
Is it really?
Yeah,
How
I'm
did I miss
looking
that?
it up right
Whatever.
now. You're going to go rent it tomorrow, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
It's there.
Okay, you just.
It's there.
Chris just showed me porn live on the radio.
No, it wasn't porn. It was art, Dan.
Is that what that was? Art? I
think
guess so.
That's,
Yeah.
that's what they're going to get away. That's how they got away with it.
It got PG. So,
It was rated PG.
Yeah.
I just remember the panic that washed over my mother when that scene came on.
Oh yeah.
Whoa, that happened quick.
We were watching when my kids were younger. My boys were younger. We were watching the Super Bowl when Janet Jackson lost her top.
Yeah. Okay. So
Like, that was crazy.
Yeah. It sure. Do you think that whole thing was planned?
It was
That was
absolutely planned.
Because really, she had a little star over her nipple, and that was not planned. Give me a break. I mean, if it wasn't planned, she wouldn't have had a star on her nipple because it was over. She had a shirt over her breasts, so they knew that they're right.
I think so.
Right.
Thank you, Whatever. You're pissing me off today, Chris.
What did I do?
Maybe it's because I haven't had my Raisin Bran today.
Maybe that's what it is.
By the way, it was not Molly Ringwald who was in the shower. It was Jake's girlfriend, the blonde.
I knew it was one of them.
Remember Long Duck Dong? Was that 16
Excuse
Candles? Long Duck Dong. It was at 16.
What was his name?
Long Duck Dong. It was in 16 Candles. It was a Asian foreign student.
How do you know he was Asian?
They said he was Asian. And his name, Long Duck Dong.
They gave him a stereotypical 80s movie Asian name.
They did, and it was so funny. Okay, we should probably move on.
We should.
You know what? The absolute best ever movie, though, for the 80s? Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Never seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I have either.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
I've been bludgeoned with the Mr. Hand references over the course of my life, but I've never seen it.
Who are you two? And Joan, you're a child of the 80s.
Yeah, but
you're closer to the 70s.
No. Are you kidding? Well, I graduated in 1982 from high school.
Joan, do yourself a favor when you get off the air. Look at that moment on the super text line. I know exactly what I just did. Look at it on the video, and you'll see me and Chris started laughing the second I said that.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Joan was getting all kinds of love earlier in the broadcast.
We're going to find out if you can fit in that locker later.
Yeah. And then we're going to find out if you can get out of it with a lock on it.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Great, great movie. You ought to watch it this weekend. Don't watch it with your kids because there's one of those scenes.
Watch Die Hard instead.
Watch Die Hard instead?
That's better 80s movie.
It's not Christmas.
Thank you. You took my line. I was going to say, it's not Christmas. Why would you watch Die Hard? All right, very good. On that note, are we done? I guess we're done. I'm going to go home and have my Raisin Bran.
Get it, Dan. You earned it today, buddy.
Well,
And
yeah.
your blackberry cobbler.
My Raisin
dessert?
Bran and blackberry cobbler. That's what I have looking forward to when I get home. What does Chris Hand have to look forward to after 9?
We got Sergeant Betsy Brantner Smith. She's going to be joining the show. She is a retired police officer. She's got a lot of background info. Going to talk to us about what officers are going through on the ground in the LA riots from their perspective. Looking forward to that interview.
All right, very good. Joan?
We've got the latest on that garage fire in downtown. Also, Bonnaroo organizers saying there's a problem and it's causing a schedule change. Got those stories coming up here at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I don't understand why they would loot an Apple store. Let's loot a store where every single device has GPS tracking.
Dan Mandis here for my friends at Contours. Listen, Father's Day is coming up. And if the dad in your life has a dad bod that he would like to get rid of and you want to help him out with a belly buster special from my friends at Contours. Now, most folks lose 2 inches in the middle. For just $99, you can get one for dear old dad. You can actually do it for yourself as well. If you call right now, 615-236-9960 for Contours. First 10 callers get that belly buster special for just $99. Now, a lot of folks have been taking advantage of these belly buster specials at Contours. Their red light technology, it is unique. It is incredibly effective as well. Folks have been coming from all across Middle Tennessee to check them out. You can go to their website and see how their belly buster therapy featuring red light technology actually works. And it does. So call right now, 615-236-9960. First 10 callers get that belly buster special for just $99. Check them out online. It is at contoursllc.com, contoursllc.com.